Oh, on your live.
Okay. Hi, my name's Yolanda. I'm doing my first podcast, I guess. So, yeah. So, I want to talk about myself a bit, give some history here. Um, I just turned 60 years old. I guess, um, and on June 14th,
Same birthday as
Flag
Trump.
Day. Yep, same day. Um, Yay. I used to hate Trump, but now I really like him. I love Trump. Anyway. So that's making us very unpopular now. We'll talk about
I
that.
also think it's important that people also, if they do listen to this, they realize why we didn't like Trump at the beginning.
Yes, nobody ever talks about that. Wait a minute. First, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
You and Tim, my adopted son. You guys were like really hitting the streets hard. I mean, you guys campaigned. You guys busted your butt up in the streets, knocking on doors, doing all that work.
In San Bernardino, by the way.
In San Bernardino, thank you. And I really commend you for that. I've never really done that.
A lot of people didn't, but,
Not publicly, but anyways, the point is, you guys really, those crickets are really kicking in. Thanks a lot.
And that's actually why I did the Bernie thing, was for the admiration of it all.
Yeah, we really were Bernie lovers, man. Our whole front lawn was covered with Bernie signs, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, the point is that, that's the history. So we went from Bernie lovers and campaigners and supporters and everything to Trump, man, Trump.
Yep.
So, hey, Trump is the real deal with us.
But I wanted to just elaborate a little bit why I went Trump.
Yes, go ahead.
I fell for the sound bites when I was campaigning for Bernie. Everything else, I wasn't interested in Trump, so it's not like I went into that camp. I wasn't trying to find out about their stuff.
That came pretty gradually. Remember, we were just sitting by, and when Hillary, when that whole thing was happening, and we were just like watching all things in disbelief. We're like, well, mostly I think we were just like watching, kind of like someone that grabs a lawn chair and grabs a popcorn and like, yeah, let's see what's going to happen now.
Because it is very interesting that we were like, because we were so like attached to the Bernie thing, that when Bernie didn't get it and they took the the Hillary and all of them, they stole the election from him.
Oh, yeah, that was
by
crazy.
Then we were like,
that night you were actually, we were watching how he had that little cut over his eye.
Oh yeah, he clearly got worked over and intimidated.
Guy, nobody noticed that till like after all these years later. I'm pointing it out to people and they're going back to check.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Bernie is clearly like back then I didn't know, but yeah, he's clearly off the rails now. Back then he was pushing for some all right stuff. But
and you know what? We have history here too. Like I'll talk about my history later, but I told you about how I'm not sure, but Tom can actually himself back that up. But so we were listening to Tom Hartman way before, and Bernie used to come on Fridays and on what, Wednesdays?
Every Friday,
I forgot.
Brunch with Bernie.
Yeah, Brunch with Bernie. So we were fans of Bernie way before he ever started running. And
Democracy Now!, Amy Goodman. We used to listen to all those
all
progressive
that. We were
shows.
Totally democracy.
You know what? Yep. And I'm going to tell you,
totally
I felt that like the way they got me was, if your heart's in the right place, then you don't want war. You don't want this for anybody else. You just assume that you're American and everyone else has a much rougher than you heart of it. They really brainwash you with this bull that really makes you feel like, oh, the rest of the world is suffering more than me. Let's just give them everything. Let's just give them the clothes off our back. Let's just let any immigrants come in. Not even immigrants. Let's call it what it is. Illegal come in to our country. Anybody deserves everything more than me, which is
that's just it.
Ridiculous.
And we've been getting shitting on since I can remember. Us Southern Californians here, white, Mexican, black, whatever. Chinese, Filipino, whoever's a resident here.
Yep.
Already established, man. We get shit on all the time because, excuse my language, I don't like cussing, but who are we kidding here? Okay, I do cuss a lot. That's another subject.
As Americans, they expect us to just bend over and take it.
Keep it on.
And if you live in liberal California, forget it. If you say anything that's against the liberal agenda, people want to hang you out to dry, which is pretty
What do you remember about my history? You guys are we're really into politics too. Here's the thing too, is that because of my background, you guys are total media babies. This is like second generation media babies, hardcore here. I was a total media baby for sure.
Oh yeah, we know a lot of people like that.
We have our own language in this house, or everybody that knows us knows we have our own little kind of little lingo here, huh?
Talking.
Like if you do not know anything about movies, if you're like not
miss
in
a
that
lot of our
culture,
jokes.
you
Yeah.
are not going to get what we're talking about a lot of times. Even I don't get what you guys are talking about a lot of times.
You know, because remember, we used to be more on it, but that was the thing.
Oh, yeah.
We grew up watching your movies, so when we were kids, our jokes came from your movies, and that's why you got it. And now, the older we get, and I can attest to this, I really can.
Former groupie, too. I'll talk
It's
about
like,
that. And nice groupie, not crazy.
I make jokes now, and I expect, like, Chuck's kids, or I expect younger kids to get it. And it's like...
Chuck is your brother-in-law.
Yeah, I just figured that, you know, a lot of these people would get my joke. And
/ best friend.
It just goes on. It goes on like this in life. You know, how you think people are going to... You make fun of your parents, like, oh, man, they're really out of touch.
I never thought I'd be a Republican myself, like my dad. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe it. But, yes, whatever it takes to follow Trump.
You know what? There's a saying, and I've seen this. I watched it.
I will be a Republican, but I'm actually registered, too, as an independent.
Yeah, I watched this interview with this former MS-13 guy, and he was saying basically all his friends who used to be in gangs, when they got out of gangs, they got jobs, they reformed, and just shitty gang members in LA, and they got out, they turned their life around, and it's very hard to do that, by the way. It's very hard to get out of that world.
I think I know.
So these guys who do get out of it, and they are able to pull themselves out of that rut, they always, 100% of the time, they end up becoming Republican. They don't tell you that little factoid. And that's a very important thing to realize, that if these kids back then knew, if someone had just educated them.
God, that cricket.
You know, I know, the cricket's killing you, but I'm ignoring it. It adds a peaceful background. You know.
We're doing this outside. Anyways. Hey, did you see that firework over there?
Oh, yeah, we got a bunch of fireworks.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we live in San Bernardino.
They're letting them off early. They always do.
It's not supposed to be legal and stuff, but who cares? I mean, they don't usually.
Not past the 30 freeway.
Whatever. We're not going to report on us for fun stuff. The cops have enough to do, right?
You know, it is interesting.
I don't know why that bothers some people. I mean...
What? Fireworks?
I mean, yeah, because we're in a fire area. You know, I don't blame it for that. But, you know, it's not that big a deal. It's like, it's going to, like let something...
I don't mind if they're letting off bombs near their own face and hand. They can blow those up all they want. It does bug me to see all these, like, illegal mortars shooting up in the air, and they don't care where they land. If it lands in someone's backyard, car. Yeah, see what I mean? And there's an officer. I'm glad they're patrolling, because these guys be letting off these bombs all the damn time.
They're not bombs, are they? I think they're fireworks.
No, they're homemade bombs. I made them when I was a kid, but I was taught how to make them really safe. Your brother, one of your brother's friends, Jimmy, when we were kids, this was right after Eddie had broke his leg, and we're all sad, and he gave us some money for fireworks. And anyways, I felt really guilty, because I still feel, I know that was the reason Eddie snapped his femur, but I remember this guy was like, hey, he was drunk. This is why.
We know why the femur snapped. That's another story.
But I remember
a big corporation that everybody knows.
Yeah.
You know, they respond. Why did you say that? Dang it! I don't know what you're saying. Anyways, whatever.
Who cares? What are they going to do? Send their lawyers after me and steal all my nothing? Sue me for all my nothing? I think I have it.
I know. Well, not you. Me.
Interesting fact. Interesting quick fact. Hillary used to be the lawyer for Walmart. And when she was she was Walmart's lawyer, then they made it big, right? Only thing Walmart had ever sold that was made in USA was our ammo. And yet Hillary was going around saying how bad guns are. Very hypocritical.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because
that was back before everybody was investigating everything. Like, everybody really investigates now, which is cool. You know?
With the media at our fingertips.
Heck yeah. Oh, yeah, they didn't expect that.
I wish more people investigated that. That's not true.
Most people are lazy.
They are. They actually, many people have the world at their fingertips, and they'll call you a liar. They'll say Trump's evil or bad.
But they won't investigate.
They just won't investigate. Yeah. And it's like,
well, it's easy to get fooled, though, with our media, of just bombarding everybody, all the channels. And it's hard to believe that all of them would be in such cahoots here.
I still believe that, like...
I mean, you know, who's going to... And you're living in a regular society, you don't suspect
Jesse's the only one who's on the level with me on the Trump thing, because he gets it. His dad gets it. But when it comes to Chuck and Joe, I feel like they still watch more, like, basic media than I do. I think they still have regular TV.
Yeah, they're brainwashed.
And so, you know, with basic cable comes soundbite after soundbite after soundbite. And how many people, after you're done, tired, you just want to relax, you hear something shitty Trump says in the background, you're like, oh, that jerk, that prick, whatever you think, whatever bad word you want to use, people think that about Trump quickly, because it's the first thing. I
Well,
felt
the
it.
media's got everybody to that point. Well, look at how they filmed that thing. I didn't believe you either at first when he did that Mexican thing, because I'm Mexican. My gosh, you're going to expend my race.
Oh yeah, the rapist and
you. Screw you. But you know what I mean? It's like, no, not going to happen.
I see that all the time. Just the other day they did that.
I'm not prejudiced against my own people, but although, they made it sound like he threw out that news reporter from Telemundo, was it? Or and I know who he is. And they they made it seem like he was so prejudiced and all that. Like he was baiting people. Like a lot of people go around saying he baits people to be prejudiced,
Yeah.
or to, race baiting. That's what they call it now. There's a name for race baiting. But, and I believe that too, of course.
They've created new words for
because you just see those little clips, those little sound bites, and you believe it and they don't. But when I seen it taken out of context, and I start seeing, wow, this is what's happening. And I don't remember that much. You probably remember how I came out of it more. I started believing, oh, this isn't true. This is a bunch of crap.
Just breadcrumbs of truth led me to an inevitable. I think that's
lies.
Yeah, I think that's what made me more angry. Is I had been out there,
and I was so fooled too and I shouldn't have been, because I should have known better. Because that's true, because all these years I pretty much have gotten you guys to where you don't just buy everything you see on the TV. You always question things. And I think that's got to be because of my always being so political, since I was probably about 13. I think it's since birth, but there were little things to fight. As a kid.
I was born angry, maybe for a reason.
Little politics. Yeah, so I was never too popular with my little ways. Whatever, but
as long as you stay true to yourself, it pisses a lot of people off when they can't convince you or sway you to their side. When you know your truth and you know it in your heart, and people just want to convince you and lie to you, and you're like, I'm not going to buy that. I'm good. I'll subscribe to the bullshit magazine. And all of a sudden, they piss off. You could see the true,
But what were we saying to begin with? Oh, yeah, I got off the script. I was giving some history of me, but we started talking about politics.
We went from Trump's birthday that you share.
I know, huh? Well, that's okay. I don't care. Let's ramble, man. Ramble on. I say I love Neil Young, and I'm sure we have nothing in common other than love of music.
South don't need him around anyhow.
What the heck are you talking about?
Neil Young.
South, but I know Southern California. But I think if I would have been musical, that's what I've come to realize recently, is if I would have just been given music as a language, that would have been my chosen language, I know it. I feel like I'm full of music, but lyrics anyway, but because I've lived a lot. But the point is, I never got that option, never got taught or anything about music.
In case you guys are wondering, those are a bunch of gunshots.
Are those gunshots?
No, those are
anyway,
easy to believe in this town.
I know, in this area?
From one second to the next.
Yeah, we don't too far from where there was that the 10 people that got shot up here, San Bernardino.
Just Google Marshall and Golden.
No, don't say to everybody what we.
We don't live there. I'm just telling them our cross streets, the worst cross streets. They can Google Edgemont and Marshall, or which one's the worst? I think the worst is
not Edgemont.
It's Harrison, right?
What about it? No, over here, Linwood. What are you talking about?
Oh, the Linwood Apartments.
You shouldn't have mentioned that. Now I'm gonna have to edit that. Right?
No, you don't. This is live. I'm sorry, but this is where I told you that when we go live, this is it.
Well, nobody would actually argue that.
They're
notoriously bad.
People should Google Linwood and Golden crime, and because
there's always something going on there. The cops are always circling the sky here in the whirlybirds. Oh boy.
3 different women beheaded on Del Rosa.
Yeah, we have a
only
beheader
3 blocks away.
Well, let's just stay away from that one because I don't want to get anybody angry at me, especially a beheader. Anyway, yeah. So I was talking about Trump, but we're not here to talk about Trump. This is the Yoli show here. What do we call it?
Should have called it the Ramble Gamble.
Ramble Gamble.
You're gambling when you listen to us.
No. I think you learn a lot from listening to people that have something to say. We're ordinary people. We have nothing, no money, no property. We don't have nothing. We're just poor.
That's what I'm saying. Might as well say what you want. Say
We're
how
about as
you
poor
feel.
as they get, huh?
You got your
Wait, the next step down is homeless, right?
So I'm
Next
saying,
step.
when you're as poor as us and your ear is this close to the ground, people should hear what you have to say, because it's like,
Oh yeah, I've been homeless.
the next step is going to be homeless.
You know, I got to talk to you
So,
about the homeless thing, man. There's a lot of bad stuff happening around the homeless situation. But I just hope that people are getting money to help the homeless actually do, help the homeless. I'll tell you what, when I was homeless with your little, brother.
I think it's very clear that you make it clear it's not just you say homeless, because that's a very big catch-all.
I was homeless for 4 months.
Yeah,
I was staying with the homeless
you were
coalition.
also not a
I have
drug
a homeless
addict, and you had a
coalition
little
card
boy.
to prove it.
You were not
And
a
all the
drug addict.
experiences.
You were not a drug addict at the
No,
time.
I wasn't.
You had gone away over these years past all your
The reason
stuff.
I wound up homeless was because of HUD and my apartment manager, who was belonged to some church called The Door, and he just wanted to get me out. I was on Christmas vacation. I was going to Citrus College in Azusa. Not Azusa. What am I saying? Is it Azusa? It's not Azusa.
At the time,
why am I getting that freaking
your
forgetful?
school, Citrus College,
yeah,
was in Glendora, I believe.
Glendora, that's right.
But the cross street right there was Azusa. Like right when you cross the street, it's Azusa.
Well, yeah, but the point is, I was actually, it was an act of vindictiveness from the landlord, because I was helping everybody when I was on my vacation. Remember all the problems going on? I was like, I had time to focus, because
I remember plumbing was the worst.
Oh yeah, God, everybody's
problem was the worst.
Remember, everybody's bathtub kept caving down on the apartment down below. That's pretty shoddy. And this guy, the landlord, he was something, wasn't he?
I was like 14 years old trying to undo their fuck ups. That's pathetic.
Hey, no cussing on my show.
I said for heck.
Okay,
I say for heck so quickly. You guys might think it's the other word, but slow it down. Which
not that I don't cuss. I'm a reformed cusser.
You could say fluck, for heck, things that sound close.
Anyways, the point is, what was I saying? No, I forgot.
Don't chuck with
Richie, you got me off track. What was I talking about?
We were talking about shoddy apartments.
Well, the point is, I was helping everybody for like 2 weeks, telling everybody, well, you could sue them this way, do this, do that, or because neighbors were having so many problems, and I was like helping them out. I knew something about what they could do, but the point is that that's why I wound up homeless, because he didn't renew my contract. It was just some stupid little thing to fix, remember, and he didn't fix it, and because of that, they didn't pass the apartment. It wasn't little; it was actually bigger. And that's the reason we wound up homeless, because this guy wanted me out.
Yeah,
period. He had a lawyer, and I knew who his lawyer was. I remember her because she was the same little crook that took classes from where I used to volunteer as a compliance officer with the National Compliance Officer, Kenneth Connor. May he rest in peace. God bless him. He, so he had, I guess, trained her. She wanted, and he charged her because, he's giving her some training. I don't know if he should have charged her, but profit and all, but he's dead anyway. So the point is that she's.
Well, if he was taking out of his own private
No, I think
time,
he was allowed to charge when they're like, what are they like? Professionals that want to come over there and get material. He was a clearinghouse.
A nonprofit organization.
Well, we were
if an organization's serving a purpose, then he can't charge. He could accept donations. That's cool.
No, but anyways, the point is, she was a lawyer, wanted to get some information on it, so he helped her get more ADA trained, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so guess what? She was right there.
Americans Disability Act, for those who don't know ADA.
Okay, and she was also the same little, that was at remember the hearing where you made you stand up?
Yep.
Show your belt, the parenting thing
they took us to. My belt buckle.
Yeah, when they took us parents to a parenting discipline meeting of some type over in near in the police department to scare us and all that. Remember
they were. I know they were
missing school.
They were hoping that I was a gangbanger, and
they were the way she was talking to me.
They were hoping that you were some kind of a crack whore, and I was a pile of crap. Like I know that's what they're waiting for.
Remember how that whole thing went? It was so funny. I'm like, no, sit down when she wanted to see your belt buckle. And I'm like, the only time you're not going to show her you're ready to do. And I'm like, that little district attorney, man. I was telling her, and she was so like rabid on us. So she went mad because The lady who was head of the whole meeting right there, she knew me. We knew each other.
Thing is, it's important
When
to
she
realize
turns
that,
around and realizes, oh, it's you won.
like, it's not a big thing nowadays, but back
I was
in
an
the day,
honorary member of CHAD at the time.
well, people may not get the context if you're younger and you're listening, but if you're my age,
Yeah, can I just say something? Honorary because I was so poor that they knew I was. Are you kidding me? I still got to be an honorary member, hang out with them. I remember the time they let me go with them to the school board meeting thing or whatever it was. It was at the school district board. Anyway, they had comfortable big black chairs, and I just kept spinning and spinning. Back then, I was pretty crazy. Anyway, anyway, so then that was pretty cool. The way I was.
you devolved into Chris Farley. That was pretty cool. You remember that? You remember him doing those skits? He would interview someone, and they would tell him important things, and he'd be like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool."
I have a tendency to say more like stuff like "right on" and "groovy,"
Yeah.
Or "neat." That's one of my words. What else? Soda pop. I'm. You guys always make fun of me for that.
Kill spider.
So that kind of dates me, right? I'm old fashioned in some words.
Sarsaparilla. My grandma would say, "You want any sarsaparilla?" And then I was like, "What?" She goes, "Pop. You want any pop?" So
I say soda pop.
for her, the most whatever it's called.
I think when she says that though, she's kind of like making fun of the old way that people used to say that.
No, she wasn't.
No, she's serious.
The first time I had heard that word was I had a stomach ache.
Sarsaparilla?
Had a stomach ache. And
my neighbors, the Menzies, used to use that. I think.
Yeah. I was like,
I grew
really
up with some cool neighbors. Like I grew up very middle class, and on one side of me, the north side on Velma, my brother still lives in a house that we grew up in.
And you never see the house.
You know, and they like, well,
we never get to go in the house. We never get to visit family. Family never invites us over.
Well, when you're poor like we are, no one wants to visit. No one wants to come over.
Yeah, I think it's.
No one wants anything to do with it.
People should realize that a lot of people, and this is your family especially, they judge us based on social status.
Yep.
And a lot of them don't realize if they had helped you either get a job or job training, you really, we can get into that. I don't even know if you want to get into that, but that's something deeper.
Well, yeah, that's pretty deep stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe we will, but I want to discuss other things because that gets me all depressed sometimes. But I'm kind of over a lot of stuff now. I don't know over, but I'm dealing with it. So I want to say, okay, my history. I'm all over the place here. Sorry, but okay. So I'm the fifth daughter. Okay, I don't know. I think that's what I was going to call my book, Fifth Daughter, but I'm not sure. The point is that I really hate when I'm saying the point is, dude. I'm going to change
You say it a lot.
I know.
And then
I'm nervous. This is my first podcast. What do you expect?
I don't know.
Let me see. So I'm emotionally very immature in some ways. So just to let everybody know. Don't expect perfection because you're not getting it. Not for me. Although I have tried very hard.
Might for me though. You might. Only if I aim for it.
That doesn't mean you can't correct me. I really do invite people correcting me. I need all the help I can get, but at the same time, I do have my own mindset about things. Nowadays, I'm fighting a lot more than I used to. I've always been a pushover, right? Quintessential pushover.
When it comes to some people, yeah. When it comes to others, absolutely not. You can be quite vicious.
Well, we've been through a lot. You and me, our relationship changed a lot, I would say, in like the last 10 years since everything went down with Christian, son getting arrested here in my driveway.
Since my brother going to prison for life sentence.
Not life. It's not life.
A life sentence is 25 or more.
Well, he was just 1 year under.
Call what you want. He's already.
I don't want to talk about that because you know, right now there's things going on. I'm going to talk to you about later. But anyway, the point is, yeah. So I'm a mom with a son in prison. So okay, there's probably a lot of parents out there, a lot of people out there with siblings and children in prison and whatnot, and parents. Whole nations locked up. We now have more prisoners in jails, for-profit jails, than what did I hear? Than any other country has.
Yeah, I think
More than any other time in history, or what?
while they're over there,
I forgot.
you know,
what was it? Lionel said.
Look, well, because we have more people in prison right now than we've ever had slaves in human history.
Slaves, wow.
So
yeah, they're basically working for butt kiss there.
But
there's so many
it's
corporations.
also important to realize, and people don't. This is another thing you got to praise your current president for. A lot of people won't. You don't have to like Trump. That's fine. You at least have to have a reason to not like somebody. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I heard these sound bites. I heard this. I said." Like, did you meet him? What have you really checked out online? And a lot of people, again, I'm gonna keep saying it, soundbite after soundbite. Every single time someone tells me they don't like him for whatever reason, they quote to me a soundbite.
I know, I can always spot what they're listening to.
And I mean that. People don't
like,
watch.
Oh, you've been listening to Rachel Maddow.
And that goes for most police videos. People think police are the enemy. They think our own president's the enemy. And that's because of liberal media's agenda is to make you feel like the people who are there to help you are there to hurt you. The government, your president, the cops. So a lot of these people signed up to be cops. I'm not gonna. That's a different tangent I can go down. But I do want to say that Trump has been closing down private prisons, and just in Texas alone, he closed down over 8. Is it over 8 or 8? I think right now it's standing at 8.
Well, the point is that someone's paying
prisons
attention to this, which is good, I think. And his daughter's been going around trying to do stuff for the prison system
It's called the First Step Act.
I really like what that Kim Kardashian did. I never liked her before. Their whole thing with the vanity and all that. I mean, I never hated her either, but you know what I mean? It's like everyone hates on them. But I'm like,
but that is her agenda. She has helped propagate a really horrible.
Who, her?
All the Kardashians.
Oh, you mean that whole thing?
Jenner, all of them. They've really pushed this whole vanity thing where it's all about looks. It's all about the exterior instead of what's on the inside. You have Bruce Jenner over there saying that he's a woman. He's clearly not a woman. He didn't even get a sex change, and he's still dating a woman. Everything about it.
I don't go so harsh on the mom and the way she marketed her kids. I mean, she had to do something because they needed money. I think, right? I don't know if they need that much money, but at least she did something. That she had the means to do it. Hey, look at me. If I had a way to do something too to make some dough, I don't really, want a whole bunch of money. Just enough to live on.
But to put things like that in perspective, like why I just why I believe that. It's because if you or me were to say, hey, I don't want my foot anymore. I want a robotic foot. I'm gonna chop it off. Most people would say, Rich, you're crazy. I don't want it. I want a robotic foot. I identify as a fucking robot. I'm sorry, guys. Right now, I may just be a cyborg, but I fully identify as a robot.
Then people would say you're nuts.
But if I chop off my penis and say, turn this penis into a vagina, that's not crazy.
Going on right
Why is that not crazy? People should first seek mental health before, if you're not accepting of yourself for whatever reason.
That's insane.
Like if you were molested, whatever it is, people should seek help. If you can't get it from your family, if your family's too close to the situation, you don't feel like you understand, you should seek help elsewhere. Not chopping off a body part, not calling yourself another name. Those things don't work. You're still going to be you. At the end of the day, you still have to answer to yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are just falling for any kind of belief system out there.
And I feel the Kardashians have propagated a very ugly part of society that people were like, I do. Like, it's just a very vain thing.
I mean, yeah, I'm not talking about that anymore. The point is, I think I like what Kim did. Whatever, I don't give a dang what. Nobody does what she did. She went and helped a woman who needed help. That who does that? Who's rich comes and helps people. Maybe they do, but just never see that. I wish somebody would come over here and help us with our damn water bill, but you know what I mean? Who does that? It goes in and helps someone to get out of prison. That's a great thing. Whatever she did,
we won't be needing this.
Pretty cool to me, huh?
If one of us in this house had a job, we won't be needing to ask people for money. And it's just my opinion, but I think our family, you especially, have gotten into this habit of either asking for money or expecting someone to help because it's a thing, right? Humans help humans. We have GoFundMe, we have these fundraising things. Whatever happened to helping people learn how to fish instead of just giving them fish? And right now we live in California where we spend over $95 billion a year on illegals. Whatever happened to that money being for us? California citizens.
Yeah,
Now
everything's
we have
coming
police
out of the
choppers.
woodwork here. This cheap. Now there's jets going by. Sorry about that.
He's gonna get the water. It's gonna be
I know,
really
it's
loud
getting
right now.
noisy. Anyway, point is, you were saying,
I was saying how it's like we've really gotten into this habit, and right, we live in a city that has less than 1% job growth rate. So, I mean,
you know, it's such.
people are like,
It's,
why don't you go look? Count it for what it is. If I don't, and I don't have a vehicle, if you don't have a car, and I push this mission to anybody who talks their crap to me or about me, whatever behind my back. If I dare you to go to your job,
yeah, I know. Huh?
walking.
I know what you mean.
I dare you guys to go shopping like I do, walking. Bring your groceries back by hand. Go to your job, walking. Go to school, walking. Take a bus to your job. Do what I do, then come back to tell me, oh, it's just so easy. I can do it. Anybody can do it. Well, guess what? When I'm on the bus, I don't see anybody from work besides someone from Baker's. Usually someone who's illegal. They don't speak any English. These jobs aren't cut out for people like me. That's a homeless man walking in the background. Just so you guys, I am in San Bernardino. If you don't believe me, there's a shopping cart behind me.
You're a liar. That's Eddie going to get water.
I just said there's a homeless man behind me.
Why are you saying that?
Because he's homeless in training.
No, he's not. I hate it when he goes out and, when it's dark. We should have done this earlier.
I know. We need to get Eddie some of them
Not the
light up
safest
shoes. Eddie needs some of them LA
Light up,
lights
yeah. What for? So you can be more visible.
for cars. Be like, I'm going to aim for that dude.
Okay.
Homeless looking guy.
Anyways, we're really getting crazy and off track of a lot of stuff. I had her script here.
It is. I'm not going to lie. Look, it's a good thing Kim Kardashian did that. It's just it's weird to me that
I hope she continues to do stuff like that. I think she will.
It's called the first step.
Maybe other people will learn from her example. On
that's another good thing Trump is doing. All I'm saying, I'm not trying to get too much off on a tangent, but in order to express what Kim Kardashian did, what she did was called the first step.
And everybody's down on Kanye West and all that. That the media went after him too. Like, why? Because he's like.
Because he's a rich black man who's for Trump but dresses like a homeless. Too. There's nothing more insulting to a bunch of black fucking randos out there who are trying to floss and front, act like they're better than people, and they listen to music. Which, by the way, most people out there, if you have a son, daughter, anybody, listen to those lyrics. Listen to rap lyrics. How many people do you know who can relate to those, even if they are rich? How many people can relate to rap lyrics? It's the biggest front in history. I'm sorry. And a lot of people don't like Kanye because he's pro-Trump. That's period. People had no problem with him before that. And all of a sudden, he was a musical genius before that. He's ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah, they have.
And now he's an ignorant-ass black guy. He don't know nothing.
I know.
Everyone's calling him crazy. Whatever the names you need to knock someone down, fine.
Well, it's because he started being political when he said Bush hates black people, right? Yeah. Like, when I heard him say that, I'm like, yep. He sure does.
Yeah, look at Katrina.
Come on. We were watching that whole Katrina disaster. Yeah. Remember, that's when I was watching Democracy Now! A lot every day. It's like every day we're watching that disaster going, God, what's happening here? What the heck?
Yep.
When we heard Barbara Bush say what she said and all that crap and all these people dying.
I was working at Baker's at the time. I remember that.
Yeah, that was horrible what happened. And to watch that was just disgusting. I couldn't believe it. What Bush did to... I think that whole thing was orchestrated, wasn't it?
I'm glad you brought up Katrina because that's a really good, that's a great analogy to show someone like, look at Kanye saying, Bush hates black people, and then you look at him saying, I love Trump. That's my president. There couldn't be a bigger contrast.
I know. Huh?
There's Trump, who created the First Step Act, signed off on it, which is helping people who, by the way, if you're not a violent offender, that's what it's for. There's so many people in there who have served their time, they did something wrong, and they're in there way beyond what they should be.
I know, there's so much little crap, stupid crap going on. No common sense is being used, and a lot of this people that get
love Clinton, right? Yet her husband was the one who passed the 3 strikes bill, which put more black people in prison than ever before. Yet Clinton and all them, like, think of all the crazy things.
I know. I could kick myself that I voted for him back then. Heck, I was even on that commission for disabled adults getting employed. Remember, I got the portfolio, the presidential thing. Remember, I went to Bonaventure representing our the handicap compliance law office that I used to work volunteer with.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I always get those mixed up because I got that kind of childhood brain injury. Anyway, the point is, Those are crazy. I lost my track. Help me here.
I think it's funny you mentioned brain injury. You know, they say that the neuroplasticity and all that, our brain tissue regenerates, and especially if you're a weed smoker.
Well, I
your brain tissue
wanted
could
to get some of
regenerate.
that stuff called tears. What are they called?
Orphan tears. Orphan tears.
No, they're not orphan tears.
Very hard to come by.
The guy that makes the Rick Simpson, he makes the
medicine factor.
No, he makes the
CBD.
oil.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So maybe it'll regenerate my brain, but I don't know.
You know, well,
the
brain is a very funny, tricky thing. A lot of people don't realize that if there's damage under your brain will find other ways to make those little neuron, like your little synapses, like it'll find a bridge to make things connect. So if you were a drug addict, if you have brain injury, if you were in a car accident, there's some trauma to your head. Like we have a friend, Tim, who when he was a little kid was struck by a vehicle and sent flying.
Yeah, drug addict.
And Tim?
Yeah, it was a drug addict.
Oh, a drug addict that hit him. I'm like, Tim was a little kid. He wasn't a drug addict. Okay,
no, he wasn't, but the guy that hit him.
Yeah, the guy that hit him. And yeah, it ripped open his skull and, some of his brain matter. Like he had suffered some brain trauma. And because of that, it just, look, Tim was a very different person when we were teenagers in high school. And now he's...
You went to high school with him, huh? I forget all the time.
Yeah.
I always forget that.
He was a very different, much sillier bastard. And now he's more mature. Like, I could see the growth. And it's really, yeah. I attribute a lot of Tim's growth and maturity to weed. Yeah. People may not want to.
He has a tattoo on both sides of his arms. What are they? Christian. My son put him on there before he was put in prison.
It says all day, every day.
All day, every day. All day on one side, every day on the other. Tim is San Bernardino's own homeless original, I guess. Homeless
he knows like every family in San Bernardino.
I know. Calls everybody, mom. Calls me mom. Calls, bro.
He's living a better life.
Yeah, he is right now. But I worry for him for the future. I for years have been after him to get on Social Security. He's legitimately disabled.
Worry about Tim. Honestly, Tim now.
Social Security is something. Let me tell you something. Social Security, we used to patrol them, or they used to have to answer to somebody, but things the way they are now, it's totally changed. So they're their own little, they can do what they want pretty much with a lot of stuff, and the way they decide things.
I don't understand why you don't pursue something like you obviously like helping. I enjoy helping people, and I've been thinking
because why? Come on, why are you kidding yourself?
I keep thinking because I'm really good right now. I'm doing the carpentry thing, and after that, I'm gonna do the welding thing. But I really like working with my hands. I'm not squeamish. But my bus stop is where I get off is right in front of the hospital. So I keep thinking, like, I see all these young people going in there, they're studying. I'm like, really, what's so hard about being a doctor, I wonder? Besides the money.
No, I know more about medicine than a lot of people.
Besides all the money.
Probably than a lot of people, because that's been one of my interests, and I got that kind of brain that sucks it all up.
Sponge brains, yeah.
Yep. Sponge brain. I know, I didn't even have to study for that law thing, the criminal procedures. I just passed, huh? And advanced psychology. I even helped with that class with the teaching. I mean, I knew more about like certain things that we were studying than the teacher did, and she was so gracious. I loved my psychology teacher. She was really great, and she wasn't jealous, and she let a lot of people go to me.
And believe me, she should have been.
Yeah, right.
No.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just saying, it'd be funny for you to act like if you were jealous. But.
So I like your microphone. It's this sticker.
Rick. I'm using the Rick microphone. You're using the Morty microphone.
Oh, your Rick and Morty mics. You guys really like Rick and Morty, huh?
I do. I'm just hoping that Justin Roiland doesn't turn out to be some kind of a weird petter ass.
Okay, I know, huh? That's.
I have some pretty dark humor, but
lately a lot of our heroes have been brought down, and yeah, it's kind of been the way I grew up with so many of these, like Trusted Bear, and now they own Monsanto. Bayer
purchased Monsanto.
It just trips me out.
A lot of people don't realize when you say that, it's. I like clarifying things. A lot of people get me like I say something. I try not to ramble, but I try to clarify quickly. Bayer is a pharmaceutical company. A pharmaceutical company now owns a food company. So
Yeah.
Monsanto distributes your corn.
What's the difference? So they were sticking chemicals in their,
And you guys know, anybody out there knows that Monsanto is big on illegal work, having illegals come
This
in
is how old I am.
and do their work.
I still remember when we trusted Monsanto.
Yeah. Monsanto is in bed with the Democrats. Democrats are the ones pushing for open borders. Doesn't take a genius to figure out they're the ones trafficking and using and abusing all illegals who come in. And yet they make it sound like we're the bad guys on here because we want to have a sovereign country. You got to ask yourself, would you let anybody come into your house? Anybody who's pro open border, why don't you invite any of them? If they're all such good people, open your door, open your house, open your fridge.
I know, I saw that meme. That meme that said, what was it?
He's not keeping people out because he hates them. He said he's keeping people. I do like that analogy. I'm building the wall because I love the people here, not because I hate people out there. Yeah. So it's people are trying to draw the correlation, but it's very true. You're not going to let any random come in your house. I don't care how much you lie. I don't care how much you want to act like you got a bleeding heart. It's a fraud. It's bullcrap. All right, it is.
One time I was at the welfare office downtown and I was helping someone because this poor lady looked like she needed help. Well, she didn't look poor, but she just started talking to me about all these problems that she had, and I couldn't believe her. She was fresh from Mexico, not that long. She'd been here for like maybe, a few years. She's, getting used to the United States. She was mad because the social worker didn't want to continue giving her aid, but privately on the side, she told me, that basically she had a husband, only she was trying to, and the social worker suspected the truth, didn't give her the aid, and she was all mad. And she wait. And on the way out, here I came on the bus. So on the way out, I'd been helping her. She gets into her lovely giant, those 4x4s, new one.
Oh,
really good. That's her husband's vehicle. I guess. Yeah. Husband's vehicle.
What are they called? I don't know what I'm talking about.
But they have really good cars. Most of the neighbors that we live around here,
big old ass SUV,
have several cars in their driveways. Several. And but yeah, she's like complaining that she didn't get her aid because she couldn't cheat. But anyway, like whatever. I've cheated in the past, but it was like dumb shit, little stupid shit, like not like that. Oops, that's my mom. I mean, these people cheat on a monumental scale here. Like, anyways, whatever. No.
Just keeping an eye on someone, making sure they're not going through any neighbors' cars, because it's trash night, and on trash night, there's a lot of homeless people who go trash can to trash can, and or at least that's what they like.
Oh, here comes your brother. I hear him from a distance.
From a distance, you can hear the shopping cart.
Hey, Richie, you missed your calling. Maybe you should have been a singer.
I should have been.
Because I don't know if I have a good singing voice, but today I was talking to everybody about why I'm not in choir. I'm like, well, maybe it's the way I walked off the. Anyway, I'm not talking about that. Basically, I terrorized our choir master. But that's another story for another day. Not now. Keep getting distracted.
And your choir master is a female?
No, he's a male. I mean, at our church.
Oh, wow. A male choir master.
Can you please not
okay,
go there?
I'll shut up.
Okay? Doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing? What is this profession, I wonder? I'll shut up. I know the answer. I just think it's hilarious.
I'm going to have to edit this. Thank
you.
No,
you don't. No
yes,
one knows.
I do.
No one knows.
They don't. People don't listen to this.
Who from church is going to listen to us? The first time they hear a cuss word, they're going to go, oh, Holy Ghost is left my house. I like these
people a lot, so just not say your dumb thing.
A lot of people are going to think we're not inviting the Holy Ghost. They're going to go, they're going to go.
People don't judge.
Anyway, they're going to cut it off. That's it.
History. Okay, so I already said my history. Fifth daughter. My mom was from Guadalajara, not Guadalajara. Guadalajara, Jalisco, and she was
you get a lot of
born
hits on
in
your
the
podcast if you call it the fifth dimension, since you're the fifth daughter.
fifth dimension. No, but she's like born in Guadalajara, and they came from a little town outside of there
Guadalajara? Is that how you say it?
called Puquio, and outside of that, another little
Kind of like a
town where the Puquio little tiny town looks like a big city compared to where they're from, which is
what does Coquillo mean in
let me
English?
finish. A ranch called bunch of houses together. I guess that's a ranch or little establishment of people. Where they came from, it's called San Jose. San Jose.
In Mexico?
Yes.
Oh.
That's where we hailed from. I never actually got to my mom's side. Actually visit. My mom is, let's see, she's Mexican, but we have French blood too, because my great grandpa, was it mine now? Is it my great grandpa? My mom's grandpa. So yeah, that's my great grandpa.
He was likely a rapist. Let's just put it that way.
Don't say that. Why do you say things like that?
Because he fucking lived
He
out
was
there
not,
in
okay?
Mexico, and you were telling all these stories.
Why are you saying that?
I said likely.
He married a woman that was younger than him. He dies of old age when she's pregnant with my grandpa.
How old was he and how young was she?
I don't know the details. I'll ask. I'd have to like get into
I know the
deep
type.
discussion.
I know the type.
Knock it off now, okay? This is really good.
We're just having fun. I thought we were having fun. We're having a podcast. This is, this is how we talk in real life. You know, you want to fake it up.
Well, you know what? I want to talk to you about that. Your podcast, it goes too far. You know, the one with the you guys do booze and the dudes. Oh my god!
You don't want to promote. You don't want to promote booze and the dudes.
No, I don't.
On here because
I was on there
no one listening to this is gonna go listen to that. They hear the first one they hear.
Well, when Chuck called me,
very first episode.
I'm gonna do the same. Is return that and call him.
That's it.
Or
People are
something.
not gonna listen
Be on
to
my
that
show.
one. You, the Mormon.
Two people are talking at once here.
Yeah, I know.
You need to knock that off.
You already seen the extreme talking.
Whatever. That's my son Eddie.
Can't hear him, Mom. Don't worry. He's so far back there. He's gonna sound like a monkey.
Let me finish, man. Nobody knows who I am here. It's supposed to be my show. Okay, so I'm the fifth daughter. I have a younger brother. Older sister. We're 2 years apart, each one of us, and 3 half sisters. But we always can't.
And we're not naming names. Real sisters. We're not naming any names on your podcast.
I don't want to. Okay, their names are Amparo, my oldest sister. She's like 20 years older than me.
If you keep gesticulating like that, like so much, they're probably not going to be able to hear you too well because the microphone's so far away.
I moved too much. Okay. So, and my second sister's name is Eva. I like that name.
What does Amparo mean?
And they're like 2 years apart from each other. 1 year
You're
apart.
saying everything in Spanish, and I don't understand.
Eva and Amparo. Eva means Eve, and Amparo, I think it means bottle. Well, Amparo means charity, doesn't it in Spanish?
Doesn't mean. Oh,
such a lame Mexican.
Man, you couldn't have
I need to go to Mexican school.
Kind of named her more opposite. Could they?
Amparo. No comment on her. I'm trying to make up with her.
Oh, she's gonna listen to this. I heard that podcast.
In my family, are you kidding me? They'll hear from this. I don't care if it's across the world. Just listen to me.
Yeah.
They are really not letting me say nothing here.
Go ahead. I'm not cutting you off. You're cutting yourself off.
Okay, so my mom was a cook, professional Mexican cook. She worked all her life in a kitchen. Kitchens. She knew like all this family that was having a feud, and like she worked for part of the restaurants. Like she worked at any of the restaurants. Basically, they all liked her, and she would work like at all the different restaurants. But I'd hear like the gossip about what's going on my whole life. You know, their feud. Her and my dad would talk about it. I guess that's not the only thing. But, you know, so it was interesting, and you know, all her life she killed herself working really hard. I think my mom is the hardest working person I've ever seen in my life. And my dad,
what happened?
He was very hard.
What happened?
What? My mom? She died.
What happened to you?
Go to hell.
Just kidding. You're hard.
You know, you guys have never known me.
You're a hardworking mom. Yes, but
when I was in my working years, as far as so I'm really tired of the way you see things. I don't think you appreciate motherhood very much. I
just gave you the credit as motherhood. I do. And
really?
I understand it must be hard. I don't understand because I'm not a mom. But you know, I cook for a lot of people. I clean up all the time. I do a lot of things that a mother would do. And I just, you know,
But without children, right? You don't actually have the responsibility on your shoulders like I did of children and a
that's
household to run.
that's my
So,
point. And if
okay,
you
so you
had
don't
been
really
with,
understand how it might feel.
I'm
or
just
be.
saying, you seem to have always surrounded yourself with not working.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is
I'm
gonna
gonna take
this is gonna
exception to that.
segue into my history, which we need because these sons just don't get it.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a full-time job would have been nice if one of the men in our lives eventually had one, and they didn't. And I'm just saying, maybe showing some work ethic to us as young
Because that's
kids
why you
would
guys
help.
suffer so much from this.
I'm not saying we're suffering,
It
but
could be the economy or all the crises that we're going through and have been going through.
I've lived
But you don't even
on
recognize
the
it.
border.
they can't
Can you
hear
be
you.
quiet?
Eddie. No one can hear
I'm not
you.
gonna. He's not even invited. Hello, does he have a mic?
Live on the
He has a
property
microphone
line.
built into those, and if you know, if
What'd
you
you
want,
say?
I've lived literally on the poverty line my entire life.
Yeah, well,
And I have lived
no one
better
can
than
hear him.
all
We can't,
kids.
Eddie. What you're doing is cutting into this,
and
and
to
it's going to
think,
sound
both
worse.
of your dads
Either
are
jump into the
veterans.
mic, or because it's going to
Never
sound
gave you
muffled.
guys a bit of the veterans benefits, did they?
No, Kayla's dad was a veteran. She saw nothing. My dad was a veteran, saw nothing. Eddie's dad was a veteran, saw nothing. So, I mean, there's a lot of deadbeat veterans out there no one's going to tell you about, but I'm glad that the veterans that I know suffered. Now, the other ones out there who are down for their shit, and, oh, they served their country. They should, yeah, well, they didn't serve their kids. So, whatever people think about that, you should serve home first. You serve home, then you can serve elsewhere, and that goes for the country. You take care of Americans first, then we can take care of illegals. And that's
Well, are you suggesting that veterans that go off to war can't take care of their kids then?
no, I'm suggesting that there's a lot of veterans who are family people.
No kidding.
They come back from leave, they see their family, they don't fuck around on their family.
Yeah, I know.
Their wives,
When they come back,
they can't.
sometimes they're all screwed up in the
Yeah.
head.
Exactly.
Sometimes they have PTSD. Like me, I know what that's like because I've had CTPSD.
What's that?
Whatever the heck. Complicated PTSD. What they call complicated. When you have
They?
brain injuries.
Who's they?
No, they. Me. I'm not talking about the Fed. I said they have CPTSD, right? A lot of them come back screwed up in the head because of that. Because of the crap they went through. Well, you have to understand mental disorders, which, that's the
I
problem
only
here.
grew up with people with mental disorders.
I know you're sick of hearing it. This is still my show, so let's talk about my things that I want to talk about. Okay, so like I was trying to say, I want to get into that, but yes, I have brain injuries, several, many from my past. Which that's the problem in my family is that they kind of overlooked that. All these years, everybody overlooked that. But so did I. All these years, didn't look at it too closely, you know. But that's been my downfall as far as a lot of things with the family and the way they think, and also having disabilities that are, hidden, and I've masked them pretty good. I think I've had a very high intelligence, and I didn't know I was. So, kids learn to mask things. I mean, I see this with my little kids in nursery all the time. They just want to fit in. They want to be like the other kids. Nobody wants to be the weirdo. Well, guess what? When I was a little kid, I probably felt like I was the weirdo and masked it pretty dang good at it too. Because most people don't know I have any brain injuries. But yes, I have a history of brain injuries, which I won't go into discussing too much, but because there's people involved here and I don't blame them anymore. We were kids, we were little kids did things to me.
I think it's fair to blame her because she's got a lot of money.
Oh, whatever.
She's got a lot of money right now as we speak. She's
So
got a
what?
whole lot of dinero.
Now, the only thing that bothers me is that we don't even talk anymore. We haven't talked.
None of us talk with your family because as soon as you became Mormon, they kind of cut you out.
LDS, please.
Whatever. If you want to get offended, go ahead.
Not get offended. It's just the proper way of saying my religion.
LDS,
Mormon is just a
slang. I get
slang.
it. I
So
get
let's start using LDS.
Remember, they have different steps. And
Eddie, they can't hear you, man. No one can hear you that well. I'm telling you. Either join in with your microphone if mom wants you. I don't know. This is one of the things you have.
Okay. Can you not cuss on my show, man?
No one can hear him that well. It's like muffles. Have you heard my podcast when I'm only this far away?
Yes, and I can still hear you in the distance.
In
like
the
I was trying to say,
distance, yeah.
that show is too crazy, man. You guys, Chuck cusses way too much. You all cuss way too much.
I noticed
and
Chuck
that
cusses a
show
lot.
is so vulgar. Oh my god.
He doesn't edit, and he should. He should really edit over everything.
You know, it's just too
All
much.
of our cuss words, he should add in like
and you guys talk about
a
sex
horse
way too
or
much.
like
It's like disgusting.
he should add in
Too much.
barnyard sounds every single time we cuss. It'd
You
be way
kidding
better.
me?
You know,
He is way too fat.
instead of a cuss
Way too
word.
fat and lazy.
Well, I just feel
Chuck-
embarrassed. I feel embarrassed
Chuck
for Carol when
is a-
she was on there. The way she just,
She's
you know, humiliates herself, or what's called
20 pounds
degrades herself a lot.
Oh yeah, Carol's got bad self-esteem. You and her suffer from a lot of the
You know,
same things.
yeah, I like Carol. Always did. She's way crazy, but I guess some people would say that about me. Some circles, but the point is, yeah, she's over the top. The point is, I admire a lot of things about Carol. It's too bad that we don't have a friendship anymore. I guess that was due to probably me.
Yeah, Carol has too much guilt. That's why she don't
knows?
come over. She don't come over and visit Kayla. She always says
But
she
she was
will,
a
but
fun gal,
she
you know.
ain't gonna. I'm telling you, she lives with a lot of repressed stuff, and she needs to get it dealt with.
I think she's trying to though.
She was
I
like,
heard in that
"Oh, I need to get
podcast
laid.
that
I need to
she's
get laid." It's like, Carol, if you want to, you can go out there and get laid. But look at the crowd. Look at the crowd you're trying to get laid with. Those people are fucking
See, that's
weird.
what I get offended
People are
about.
weird and
People
sick.
just thinking, oh, let's just go out and get laid, like it's the thing to do.
If that's what she's looking for, it's what she's looking for. It's her
Why?
life.
It
It ain't
doesn't
yours.
fulfill you. First, get to know who you are.
And
First, know yourself.
And she knows that.
It's just nothing but a troubled life, and I've gone through so many relationships.
Well, she ain't with John because she's getting good dick.
Can you please not say bad words?
All right.
And vulgar stuff. Anyway, so my point. I don't forgot what. I'm boring everybody here.
this podcast is so
Yeah.
vulgar. You hear electric guitar kick in, and then losing the views. It's coming in.
So, brief history. I was a groupie for Happy Days.
Monday.
And yeah, them guys. Back when it was
groupie.
me and Letty and Nora and Sarah were all groupies, and
who's Ralph Mouth's groupie?
we were at one point.
Oh.
Well, we were the entire cast. This is when they first started, by the way. I was there to see the taping of a lot of the shows.
Yeah.
When they used to go play baseball at Moore Park, when it was more private and all that. This is back when Fonzie was a nobody, wasn't even married.
This is before he jumped the shark.
This is way before that. Way before that. This is when they started. Come on. He wasn't even famous as Fonzie yet. He was just starting to get famous.
This is where he was in on it with Spielberg and all of them to go and molest little...
What?
What's her name?
I don't want to hear about this on my show.
From Poltergeist?
I'm not right now.
Heather O'Rourke.
Well, that's all hearsay.
It's not hearsay. He made up an entire lie on how she died. I was watching,
Who did?
Winkler.
Oh.
He made up an entire lie on some show about how she died, and then he's like he did the weirdest, fakest, most like psychopathic, like it was real sad. Yeah. She died was real. It was like someone clearly lying. You have to see it to see what I mean.
Maybe he's telling the truth.
That's not how she died. The autopsy shows that she died because, anyways, you don't want to talk about it. I get it. But let me just tell anybody, a little girl like that who dies because her intestines swell, it's a really disgusting and sad way. She was basically raped to death.
You don't know that.
I do know that. Anybody who looks up anything medical, get into the medical field. This is why I'm interested in medical stuff. Every time I exit the bus,
that's a whole can of worms working for the AMA.
I'm be a doctor.
They have to go by their rules, and it's just like they're not really practicing good medicine, I think, in this country.
Western medicine, there's a lot of good things.
Well, there is, but there's a lot of politics.
They cut out the spiritual aspect of it. And in Western, where we are now, Western society, people equate spirituality with religion, and that's really how they've contaminated being close to God or anything else, is because people think that you have to fall into some kind of religion, and you don't. You really don't. If you believe in God, God lives in your heart, right? If your body is your temple,
this is my show.
You do not need gilded temples.
I don't believe that. I believe in the one true church, of course. My church.
One true God.
Of course. Well, I know that to be the truth.
Yeah.
And
your God is wrong.
I believe.
Can we not go there? See how this is gonna really start getting it to be.
No, go
I
ahead,
really have
Mom.
to-
Just talk.
No.
This is real. We're keeping it real. You want to
Yeah,
have
you're
a
keeping it real about
podcast,
what you want to talk about.
I'm listening. I'm all ears. I'm literally made of all ears.
So, like I was trying to say,
Literally. Use that word.
can you stop it? So, yeah, so the point is, yeah, I haven't heard from a lot of people in my family. They never show up. They never help us. My family is a church, and I'm thankful to the church members who helped us, everyone that's helped us. Because otherwise, I probably would have been dead by now. Not probably, for sure. For sure.
I think for sure if they hadn't helped us, we'd probably have a full-time job by now.
You would. Oh, that's really funny.
just
You know, you've been hanging
kidding.
around with a total freaking narcissist, and it
kidding.
sure is rubbing off.
A narcissist. I don't really hang out with anybody. I just know that
You know who I'm talking
I know
about.
we live in liberal California. I know a lot of us are raised to think, we should get free things. And it's true. This is just a demographic. Look it up. People in the Midwest
You
work
have
harder.
disabled parents
I
running the
know.
household.
Believe me, I know.
Why can't you guys ever accept it and
I do
focus
accept
on that?
it.
I know you know
I'm
it,
making a joke about it.
but you're trying to make
getting
like everybody
offended.
else. When you do this, this is abuse to me because it's bad enough I go through it in society. And that's one thing I need to tell you right now. I'm fed up with it. I'm sick of it. Knock it off.
But okay, for the record, then, since you don't like it,
No, I wanted to tell you what. You won't even let me finish.
go ahead.
You're always trying to put me on the same level of I've got to measure up.
Yeah.
You know, just like people who don't have these same injuries, and that's not fair.
Okay.
Okay?
You should also remember that I was raised by you, so maybe you should cut me some slack when it comes to life and a lot of things.
I do. Believe me, I do.
I don't
I understand. I understand who you are. I understand where you're at.
I don't
Well,
think
when
you do. I don't think
do.
a lot of the people in your church
Of
do.
course I do.
A lot of people are just like, why don't you get up off your butt and go get a job and do this? It's like, I'm going to school right now.
They
And
don't
not
know
city
that.
school, it's a vocation school. I don't think everyone realizes.
They don't know. They think you guys are a bunch of bums.
Well, I know they think that, but it's fair to assume when everyone's playing video games, when your electricity bill's through the roof, your water bill's through the roof, and everyone's sitting down thinking that mommy's going to pay for it all. Don't worry. Yeah, people should assume that because that's a fair thing to assume. But if you don't know my life, you don't realize there's one person in the house really trying to get his life together. It's fair to lump one person.
Oh, here we
into
go.
a
It's turning into the
category.
Richie show, right?
Oh, it
So you're
hasn't.
guiltless here.
I didn't say I'm
everybody
guiltless.
is.
I just know that I bust my butt and I try to make it work for everyone. I know you do too. I know Mark does. I'm not taking any of that away. I just think that if we put our heads together and quit being irresponsible, like giving each other outs and excuses for things, I really think that we could become a different family altogether, a different type of family.
Well,
We could
I
pull
think we're
ourselves out of
maturing.
this. We could pull
I
ourselves
think
out of
we
this
are
rut.
maturing. That's
We
what I've
could
been
show
trying
people.
to do since December. But he's been going to that. Haven't I been trying to pull us out of a lot of stuff? But yet
I'm not
it
saying
seems
you
like
haven't.
seems like the old devil's just busy trying to pull the rug out from under us. No matter how I try to turn
And
around.
if the harder that happens, the harder you have to try to be good and do good.
Yeah, I know. I hear that positive stuff all the time. Right
Well,
now,
life seems to be rock bottoming me like every chance it gets.
I always hear the positive stuff from people who have water, have cars, have jobs, have plenty of food, while we're starving, walking everywhere, and, having a rough life here. But I'm spoiled. I am a spoiled American. So people hear this from other countries, they can say what they want. But yes, I see a spoiledness. You pointed out many times that I still have a lot of middle class spoiledness in me, whatever. Not spoiledness, how do you say that?
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois?
Very
No, very bourgeois. Very entitled.
Bourgeois scum.
Entitled. Isn't that what I mean? People think, whatever.
Very
I've gone through a lot, though. You don't realize people don't care either. When you raise middle class, and then you go down to like homeless and suffer all the crap that I've gone through. That's a violent thing to go through. And I hear people say, "Oh, poverty is violent." Yeah, well, I know. Boy, do I know. But yet, it's something that people just don't really care about all that much. It's like someone else is going through it, not me. When I was homeless, I'll tell you that. The thing I think I learned the most about that was a worthwhile thing to have gone through that whole experience for was that I got to see people at their You know, when you're homeless, you got nothing, right? It helps you have this perspective, right? But people are so fearful of someone that's homeless, and you really see that. You can't see it. I can't see it, but people are
I
so
see it.
fearful.
Yeah, I see it. I know it.
Well, you went through homelessness, so you got to see that too.
Usually, it's a look of fear people get in their eyes.
No. You were staying at your grandma's, you and Mike, so you didn't really see it like I did. But people are so threatened by someone that has. Huh?
I mean,
I'm asking something. Can you shut up and have some respect when I'm talking?
oh my God. I'm glad this is picking it up because you can't edit this. This is live.
Well, good, because I'm tired of his rudeness with that. He just talks over me. I was talking about something. Maybe I stutter. I'm not perfect. Let me finish what I'm saying. What did I say?
It seems like everyone says that to Eddie when he says even like the most anything, like a few words, people try to shut him up. And
But
it's
he
a
could wait
weird
for
thing.
people to finish what their thoughts
I
are.
get it. I'm just saying there's a nicer way to do it. Yeah, he shouldn't interrupt. Yeah, but very harsh.
What did I say? That's so harsh.
I just noticed that. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know you noticed that. See, his hair turned into the pick on mom time.
No, you're just. You know,
Don't notice
I'm
every
glad
little
we're
thing
doing this
about
so
me.
everyone could realize that you play a victim so much it needs to stop. That's what I'm
Oh,
telling you.
I knew you were going to do
You're
this to
doing
me.
it right now. I knew
You always like to
you
like
knew
to do
I was
that.
going to do this to you, so why'd you invite
No,
me
well,
on?
I didn't know that. I didn't know you were
on?
going to start with this dumb shit, with that, oh, you're a victim thing.
But you are. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now.
I just got through hearing a podcast someone else is doing about that whole victim thing, all right?
Okay, well.
We change all the time, which is true. People say, oh, I want to be my authentic self. Well, we're changing always, all the time. We're always evolving. It's true. I believe that. I know that. I'm always evolving. I've been evolving my whole life. And I have a good memory of a lot of stuff. I happen to have one of those kinds of minds that remember stuff. There's a lot to be said that you don't even know about. You're too young. You guys don't know a lot of stuff. I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying
does
you
that
got to
invalidate anything I have
No,
to
I'm not
say?
trying to validate you, but you need
Sure
to give.
sounds like it.
You need to.
Sure sounds like anything I've said might as well just be thrown in the trash, right?
How about giving respect to having some realization?
Well, why can't I play the victim card?
Be real and go. Well, she's 60 years old. Maybe she's learned more stuff than I have in my half that age time. You're talking over me again.
No, I just noticed you're doing the victim thing, and I don't.
Well, I'm older than you. I do know more than you about a lot of things.
I think I've gone through a lot in life. Yeah, I'm not going around telling everyone feel sorry
for me.
Isn't
this supposed to be my show? And you've turned it into your show.
It's not my show.
I didn't even
what I didn't
want to talk about.
I haven't even introduced myself.
I can't stand you calling me a victim. Because you hang out with a narcissist that puts these ideas in your head.
People that I hang out with narcissists. I don't.
You don't see the danger in that.
I don't call any of your friends any names, especially on your show. But on your show,
I didn't call him by name. I didn't say who he was, but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say.
I'm not going to say any names, but I will say that your choir teacher is a homosexual and in hiding. I won't say any names. Oh, well, I can't do the same thing you literally just did. Is it wrong? Is it ethically and morally wrong?
You know what? Why are you doing this to me?
Why are you doing
let's stop this, all right?
You can hit stop. You can hit end stream anytime.
I thought you were going to help me with my podcast instead of turning into a dumbass dick, which is what you just turned into.
I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, you called somebody you don't even know, was a pretty nice guy. All you did was you don't know that he's a grandpa. He's a lot of things, and you're saying that he's this and that.
My friend.
It's not what you're saying.
My friend a narcissist.
He is, and we both know he is. He's a true narcissist, my lord.
You're a narcissist.
He gets off on gaslighting everybody.
Right now.
Are you blind to that? Why do you stick up for him?
Right now.
Because you're still codependent. Because you still do the same thing. You really get off on doing that kind of thing too.
You're taking my inventory, and I bet this will never see.
Fancy words. We all know these fancy words.
This will never see the light of day because you're a liar and a hypocrite. I guarantee you'll never make this public. I can guarantee it. I can bet.
I'm not a liar and I'm not a hypocrite. Your idea of a liar and a hypocrite.
You can prove you're not a liar and a hypocrite by making this a public.
Someone that goes around calling people this, that, and the other when they don't have actual proof of that. You're so convinced of everything. So that's how people are who are closed-minded.
Never mind the person.
Convinced.
Never mind the person you're talking about is trying to get their life together and trying to be a different person. Okay, what does that mean? How does it take anything away? I'm just showing that I can call someone that you know a homosexual and you won't like
Can
it.
you get off of that stuff? That's not what I want to talk about on my damn show.
Why are you talking about narcissists?
Well, if I want to talk about things that want to embarrass you and bring you out, I would do that.
Why are you calling my friends a narcissist?
God, I trusted you to help me out, and this is what you did. This is what you always do.
Then why do you
love
trust
to
me?
embarrass me.
I don't.
You get off on embarrassing me in
You're
public.
playing a victim again. There you go.
No, you love to do that. So you got me to do this podcast so you could do just this.
I can't control you. If I can control you, can you please be quiet? Can you please calm down? Can you please go back?
And the way you do it is by publicly
No, you won't.
displaying things.
No, you won't. See? You can't
Showing-
control yourself, but you expect me to control
myself because I'm angry. Yeah, I'm angry that
you
you're
expect
doing
me
it
to
to
talk in a way that will help you control yourself. That's not going to happen. Never in this
See the
lifetime.
way he always takes over,
have your free
bosses
will.
me around because I'm the kind of person that gets bossed around. I fully acknowledge
You're sure
this.
getting bossed around. That's why I'm asking you to please stop and calm down, but you won't do it because you're just so used to being
Stop
bossed
bullying me
around.
on my show, okay? I'll talk about what I want on my
Call
show.
me a dumb dick.
Not you.
You're the bully here.
You just got through calling people a
You know
bunch of
what?
other things
You
too,
know what, Mom?
and violating what I want to talk
do
about on my show.
whatever
You want to start calling
I'm not
things,
trying to argue with you,
calling me out and
or
everything
whatever.
else
But I think
in
if
public.
you're
Did you get off on that?
just because it's your
Call me
show
a
doesn't mean
liar,
you can call the
hypocrite.
people I know names and make fun of them.
What is your idea of a hypocrite? Someone that's trying but doesn't quite hit the mark because they're not perfect.
I'm not going to stay here and argue with her.
Oh, now you're walking away from the show, huh? Because now I'm telling you things that.
Do you want to
Don't agree with
argue?
you.
Is this what you want on a podcast?
No.
I don't think this will ever
Then
see the light
stop
of day.
saying things that I don't
This
want
will
on
never
my
see the
show.
light of day. I know that for a
Can you
fact.
cut it out?
So am I right? This is never going to see the light of day.
I don't know. I'm going to edit a lot of
You
stuff.
can't edit any of this. It's a live stream.
Oh, then I guess everybody knows how we are. Don't
That's
care.
a lie. You're not going to publish it. Right now it's on private. I know it's on private. So if you hit public, then people start to be able to watch it.
But I can
You won't
publish
hit
it
public.
later.
You're not going to. You
I
want to
want
just
to.
call me names. You want to victim.
We're going to get back to what I want to talk about or not.
You can do whatever you want. You're your own human being. I have the right to do what I want. I don't have to be abused like this.
But you were going to
I
help me with
have
my
control.
show. Did you not agree to that, or did you just lose it, or what? Forget that.
I'm in the middle of helping you right now. I got the microphones out. I thought I was helping you do
Can
this
you
whole
just
thing.
not talk about people that I know?
Can you not talk
like
about
that?
people I know like that?
Well, they are the ones that put themselves out there like that.
So you know the really messed up thing here is,
I didn't say anything really bad,
the
did
really messed up thing here is that the person you're talking about is nice enough and they're going to give you a view, they're going to watch, they're going to listen to this, and yeah, you're going to call them names, and I know that everyone you know isn't going to listen to this at all. If somehow by some miracle you do,
You don't know my friends or nothing.
If you have the courage enough to somehow publish this podcast, your very first one, which I doubt. None of the friends you
So
have
everyone could hear
are gonna
how you
listen to
think you're
this.
so, it's such a know-it-all, or all other parents and people out there could hear how you're disrespectful to your own mother.
Yeah, I want everyone to hear how disrespectful
You are.
I am
You
to
are.
my
It's
mom.
disrespectful as hell.
Yeah, I would like for everyone to hear how disrespectful I am.
You
I
like
really
to-
don't mind.
You like to embarrass me in public.
What's public?
Every time we've had a fight, you do it in front of everybody. Tell everybody everything. That's your way of dealing with things.
Guarantee, I can bet everything. I can bet everything. I will run naked in the street clucking like a chicken if you publish this public. Go ahead, make it public. I'll do that.
Are we going to get back to doing this or not? Because I will or won't. The point is, I'm going to get back to talking about this before this fucking thing dies off.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, now that you've pretty much taken all my time.
Here, Eddie. I don't know if you want to talk with Mom, but, I'm not asking you to argue, but I'm not going to stay here and be abused.
Good. Get lost. Because all you're doing is messing up my show. Mr. Negativity here thinks he knows it all.
Don't know it all, that's for sure. I don't even know enough to calm you down.
So what are you doing? Taking my mic?
Definitely not. I left you with yours.
Well, the big baby just stormed off. People don't agree with him. Here I support him all the time and his wife, and all he does is do this. But, I'm glad that he feels free, not so repressed to speak his mind. At least it shows that I didn't abuse him so bad. Because let me tell you, I grew up very repressed, which he has no appreciation for. Guess he walked off too, because he always has to do what his brother does. Can't do anything originally. On his own. Feeling me. Well, now that my son has embarrassed me, who cares? Like the whole neighborhood's seen this plenty of times. But I do want to mention that it has been fewer and fewer times. If you were to check police records, you would see an amazing difference. When we used to fight, when we used to fight back in the day, way worse than this. Now it's kind of civil. Uh, but I mean, it's how many times that we used to fight all the time. I was going through so much, just dealing with a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Like my son going to prison, and that whole trauma. Yeah, he got busted right here in my driveway, and it's a big deal. As his mother, I was trying to be a good mom. That was my chosen profession, by the way. I did give up a lot to try to be a good mom or a mother. I wanted to be a mom because, unlike my mother, I cared about sticking around and maybe giving my kids a better life. I mean, I had a lot of stuff growing up, vacations, middle class life, but not time with parents. Time, precious time was never something that was given to me. And he says I feel sorry for myself. That's a result of him hanging around, like I said, with Mr. Narcissist, which will not name him, but it has had a very negative effect on him. He used to be a lot nicer. He used to be a lot more, nicer is not the word, just different. It's gotten to be where, like, the influence has been like, we're all conditioned in society that if people aren't performing to a certain level, that, they're to be outcasted. Well, that was the thing in my family. I saw my nephew die because of that. To a great degree, I know that was a part of why he died. Because in our family, it's been so difficult to be anything less than perfect. You know what I mean? Like, our family has been the kind of family that I would compare to how Japanese people are. You know how there's this forest in Japan where people go and kill themselves because they're not measuring up or whatever, I guess that's the reason why people do it. Who knows the reasons, but because they're not fitting into society, or they feel in some way that they're not measuring up, which is how I felt most of my life. Of course, like I was saying earlier, I listen to a lot of different people on YouTube that help me out. I like listening to Jerry Wise. He's pretty wise. No, he's really good. He's helps me with differentiating from family because I've been so stuck on that, and needing, wanting their approval and all that my whole life, just wanting that, and deep down. But of course, that's not how I acted. I acted very rebellious, and so my sons have probably, seen a lot of different sides of me, but they don't know everything. There's a lot of stuff that I don't show them. They don't see my inner, um, my deep down feelings. I try to keep a lot of stuff from them. So that's probably because of how I know they're going to react. The way I'm not going to have my feelings trampled over like this scene happened right now because but that's his opinions. Okay, he's entitled to them. I call it disrespect when he I don't know. I'm conditioned that way to think that, when a son raises his voice to his mother, well, that's disrespect. So, maybe he wasn't so disrespectful. Maybe, I guess, to other people, he would sound pretty calm, you know, which he is most of the time, but he's a pretty good guy. But, he has himself to blame for not doing a lot in life, but then he doesn't give himself any credit either, for the things he has been doing, People have guilted him. Here, that narcissist, all he does is guilt not being a millionaire or whatever, you know? Uh, like they'd have any clue. Some do, but this is the problem. When he gets older like me, he'll have lived a lot more years. He'll have realized that you can't live, daily, year after year without picking up something in life, right? I mean, some people do, I guess. I hate when I sound so wishy-washy, either here or there. I do have to say, I'm doing my best to be a better person today. I used to be a hothead. That example, of course, people blame their parents for a reason. I don't like the word blame, okay? If you have an example, okay, for whoever, you know, example, kids learn from your examples. Come on. But yeah, again, stuck on blame. I really can't stand that whole theory either. I mean, we're living the consequences of so much. So many people screw up. So if I lived in blame, always hating on the past, things that happened, I couldn't go on. I've been learning to not live like that. And that's not what's gotten me depressed or why I was in such a depression. It was my son, I lost. That. Also, my uh, husband and me split up right after that. I had like a triple whammy that year. And then I got crushed by a truck, hit by a truck. Small truck, but still a truck. And that disabled me for 2 years. I mean, I couldn't sleep without pain for like 2 years. The first year was more intense. Second year, not as bad, but still. Point is, he's very opinionated. He has a lot of insights, opinions, whatever. 100% right about everything. He's what they call a Bernie bro. They're calling guys like him on the media Bernie bros, original Bernie bro. But I really hated that too. And they're calling them Bernie bros. It's so stupid. So I'm trying to feel myself more because all my life I've never felt myself. I just I could tell you what was wrong with everybody else, but not me. And we know that's codependence, right? And I've been getting into self help books and trying to help myself here for years now. 20 years I've been at it. All right, so I'm familiar with Melody Beatty and a lot of these authors. Heck, because I want to talk about things that are about me, my history, not going to talk about other people like he went into. I was just saying I was a groupie. Those were fun times. I enjoyed hanging out with my niece. And, all our lives we were close until we grew up, became adults. It started happening when we were like, you know, older teenagers. Yeah, not younger so much. We were still hanging out when we were like 15, 16. That's about it. 17, I don't know. But point is, yeah. So I guess I didn't know how much I missed her, or that was, had all my feelings kind of on ice, deep feelings were on ice, which happens. Had a lot of stuff buried and repressed. So I've been dealing with a lot of this stuff lately that I've been acknowledging, and it's not easy to do. I mean, just getting into recovery for, booze or which was my drug of choice, right? So that's hard enough. But when you, on top of that, wow, another recovery issue to recover from this now. Oh my gosh. So it's like there's so much for me to deal with. I did I did. I had a nervous breakdown. I mean, at one point I did. After my son got busted, I was just totally very out of it. Um, and that really affected me a lot. I have felt so much. emotions since then, of course. But I mean, I really didn't know who I was or am. You know, I've never kind of really known that. I not had a really good insight about that. I think that has a lot to do with my brain injury too, because there's a lot of things I compensate for. I've noticed. So, because I was injured on the part of the brain that handles things like organizing skills, they call executive functions. Our abilities to plan, prioritize, right, organize. Remember to some degree. But the point is that yeah, it has really affected me my whole life, and I didn't know how I was compensating my whole life. Didn't know because I suffered from infant child abuse, infant abuse. So that I think caused me to not trust my mother very early on. And I was told by a sister of mine that I do humongous fits, which fits the description of a kid that's gone through that. I was very angry after because I was a baby, probably about a year old when I had that happen. And my mom basically was tired. She came home from working. She used to work very hard as a cook slash waitress down the street. We used to live on Granada over in El Monte. Shout out to El Monte. I'm an El Montean, or however you say that. But the point is that I had gotten a foreign object stuck up my nose, and this had gone on for like maybe I don't know, not sure about the time frame, but apparently it was long enough for it to rot, and I do remember my cries because we do. I was crying probably a lot, with a lot of misery going on up there, and I kind of gave up after a while, you know, and so I remember this whole thing started coming back to me because I pretty much had ignored it my whole life. Like, I'd known about it, I was told about this, and I don't even have to be told too much because I remember a lot, stuff. So then maybe filled in a few things, but so I was drawing, and an artist. I was sketching something in my journal. I was starting this night journal just for the heck of it. First entry was about that night, and I didn't know I was writing about it. It kind of opened the whole thing up to me. So I first wrote about it, maybe 2 pages, but then I drew about it. I drew it, and this is like 2 years ago. I think it was 2017. Sister McDonald, the lady from my church, was really helpful to me. I really loved her. She passed away a year ago. And she was trained in how to help people with disabled. Or she was really clever, real smart, and not just smart. She had a big heart, compassionate. I mean, she was the kind of person I would say was like a real life, real saint. Like a saintly saint. So good and so caring, loving, and careful of people. And God, it hurts to talk about. I can't even talk about it. She helped me so much. Anyway, so I have had too many problems, I guess, all my life, and I've somehow managed to. I don't even know how I did it because it's pretty crazy when I look back to think that I managed to do all this stuff with the way my brain is. But I know I had a higher level of agility than I think most people. I don't know why, but I was able to do so many things that I used to be very good at skateboarding, and you know, gave it up because I was pretty much going to kill myself doing some of these stunts. This is back in the day. I knew some famous people. Well, they weren't famous at the time, but they're now like gods in the skateboard. That's the hint. And yeah, I was pretty crazy, reckless, with my body, I guess you could say, doing crazy things that definitely would have killed me. So I gave it up. And I think I gave it up at just the right time, too. Um, I remember I used to give away all my things. My nephews would probably remember that because they got a lot of them. Give them away, things away. Yeah, I think I did that, yeah, right when I started studying religion and started becoming very, um, just doing things very simply and basic, and I chant and meditate and just go to my shitty job and, just never watch TV, just listen to this one religious station and I don't know, it was going nowhere. I think I was, at one point I just said to myself, when I was like meditating, like, wait, I haven't done anything bad yet. I haven't gone out and lived yet. So I have nothing to, when I was praying, like, what do I have to repent about? I had nothing, I'd done anything that was too bad. I started, I said the heck with it and just decided to start living. And boy, did I, I think it's being raised in a very repressed household, that kind of, because my friends would come over to my house and I think, like, I had a couple of friends that turned on me because I was the rich girl and they were the poor girl. So you know how that is. And I remember my friend told me one time that when she came over to do homework with me, she felt very intimidated by our china cabinet, which I now own. It used to be my dollhouse when I was a little kid. I used to open up the drawers and just the ones on the side and play Brady Bunch and Partridge Family in there. You know, I still I left the little doors that I drew on there when I was a little kid. And anyway, so I just feel like I never really kind of had a childhood because I was always a go-between with my mom and grandma. They were always fighting. My mom, she's a very lively kind of character. She cussed like a sailor. She had a drinking problem when I was a little kid. And she gave it up though, but, damage was already done. First time I ever went to my first AA meeting or Al-Anon meeting, I was in denial. I went to an AA meeting and found out I should have gone. Somebody told me you should go to, wait, it was the other way around. Yeah, I was going to Al-Anon, and the closest thing I had to a sponsor told me I should go to AA to get empathy for my addict. And then when I was there, I'd always break down and cry when they were giving each other cakes because I don't know why. I guess I wanted so much to have to see my ex, be able to celebrate. But it was deeper. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. Now, this is when I was at the Covina, the 504. So shout out to all the Covina. Um, Alcoholics Anonymous in Covina. I used to go there a lot while I was going to school and while I was trying to go to school and try to live in these crazy apartments. I ended up having to quit school because of I'd gone to because of the thing getting thrown out with HUD not getting renewed and what else. So when I met this little girl, her name was Kimberly. She was this guy Henry's little girl. I was hanging out with Henry. Henry, he was so brokenhearted because his ex left him, and so I met him there, and he had this cute little girl. I met him at Al-Anon, and he'd go with me too to AA, so we're buddies. But his little girl, she would always hear all these adults because he'd take her to AA meetings, which you shouldn't do. Never take a kid, well, unless he's bigger, like Richie was when I took him. But you know, this was a little toddler practically, and she was like always getting involved with our conversations. Doing these little hand movements, like talking with her hands. It was so cute but sad. And I didn't know why this little girl bothered me so much. You know, at the time, I didn't get it that I was that little girl at one time. With my mom and my grandma, because I was always playing shrink, hearing all these adult issues, right? Um, yeah, they never liked each other. Those two were always at it, you know. And I think a lot of it had to do with their pace. My mom was just always on the go, fast, 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 hyper. And my grandma was slow, slow as molasses, slow as the day is long. Oh my gosh. So, we didn't get along, for a lot of reasons. Because my grandma caused a lot of problems. She was, the kind of person that nagged people. I used to do that too. I kind of still do. Not as bad as I used to, but boy, I grew up with a mom that did that and a grandma. Seeing her go into action with her nagging my poor Aunt Esperanza so much. One time I was visiting on vacation. I used to go on really nice vacations to Mexico, Guadalajara, Old Mexico, well, different parts. And it was really neat. I'm grateful for that. My mom used to bust her butt, all the time, working her so that she could provide, like for us and give us nice vacations and stuff too. That was wonderful of her to do. But I feel like I'm the one that paid the highest price for all those good times too. I was a kid with special needs that never got special attention. I mean, I didn't even get regular attention, let alone special. Okay, so there's that, which I totally understand now better than my own sons do. So they're saying I'm always playing the victim. No, I'm actually in recovery trying to discover who and what the heck happened to me. As when you do your work of origin, I know it probably bores them, but I don't go around telling them all the time, but they're probably sick of hearing these stories of like when I was more, I think I was more of a nagger. I was more of a nagger. Of course they turned them into rebellious children, like I was. Only they're worse. Every generation gets worse, more clever in some ways. I was with my mom. Although, let me tell you, my mom was really sarcastic as you can get with a mom. She used to put her mom down like you don't believe. I mean, it was like Comedy Central going over to my mom's and listening to her and my grandma go at it. In a way, if you're into cruel comedy. So I don't know. I never seen a loving relationship between my mom and my grandma. That just didn't happen. That was something new I experienced being LDS. Let me tell you, that's an experience being an LDS when you come from my background. Well, I think the strangest thing is that when I first joined, I used to see women like doing this thing to their son's back, or maybe it was their husband's, or their kid, daughter. I didn't see that too much with daughters, but no, in fact, I was wondering, what the heck are they doing? Oh, someday they're going to take me to some room in the back or over here to the side. They're going to teach me what that is, right? You know what that was? It was called natural affection. When a mom rubs their kid's back. Yeah, and some kind of circular motion or however. I used to watch the motions and see there's a pattern to this, right? Because I thought that was something they were going to teach me. I didn't know that's so crazy how I didn't know what natural affection was. We didn't practice that in the household. No one ever hugged or kissed or for that much said, hey, how was your day? You know, that didn't happen. Um, so I'm learning about what CEN is, which is, you know, childhood emotional neglect, which I am positive I suffer from. Positive, 100%. My siblings, however, are in denial. But that's because they have good jobs, and that covers up a lot, you know. Since my life's been in crisis mode since I was born, um, I kind of see things more than they do. You know, when you go through the crap I've gone through, you know. So I don't know what I was going to talk about. It's getting to be a very long podcast here. I'm not exactly feeling 100% good too. Um, had a lot of issues health wise because when I've been all this stuff that I've been thinking about and rehashing, you know what? I never, you know, you see movies about how uh, people's bodies can relive like old pain or things from the past. I never believed that, but now that it's happening to me, I have. So I'm having headaches daily, almost on a daily basis, right? Which I didn't before. I mean, I went through a period of not experiencing headaches for years, and now, hey, they're back. But also, maybe it's because of the psychosomatic crap, not just the fact that we sometimes lack food, or me in particular, lack the right kind of food. As you can imagine, 60 years old, impoverished, and yeah, living on social services, now on disability. You don't get the best of food. All these years, you know, when we were eating all the bad foods and stuff, you know, I was definitely overweight. I definitely have liver problems now. And past suicide attempts, that didn't help either. When I took a bunch of pills and pretty much was going to kill myself. I killed myself, actually, did kill myself. So I know what that's like. And I did that years ago in San Dimas after I'd heard this one woman in Long Beach killed herself, and that kind of started putting the idea in my head because I didn't want to live anymore. The idea ran through my head, maybe, maybe I should take my kids with me, you know, not let them stay here and suffer too. You know, that's just a sick way of thinking, though, because now I know that is pretty narcissistic thinking there too. Like I see it now, right? Um, Back then, of course, I did. I think Katie, my first visiting teacher, she helped me so much because, well, she knew I was artistic, but I was also blocked. So she gave me a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That helped me a lot. I mean, not at first, but I started doing the exercises, the morning pages. And what that did is it was like bringing up all the scum, you know, like when you cook chicken and you got to get rid of all the scum, or it brings it up to the surface. That's how I see it. Because it started getting me in touch with feelings that I had, very repressed feelings, you know, deep depressed feelings. I'd have dreams, you know, and I'd get up in the morning and just start crying for no reason. I didn't even know why I was crying, but that kind of forced me to write about junk, you know. I wasn't really journaling too much back then. You could hear the gas on. So I think I've always had a lot of, I don't know if it's because of the head injuries or what. It does. A lot of spiritual stuff, you know what I mean? Spiritual things happening. I know there's a lot of people that don't believe in them, but there's a lot of things because we've experienced them, right? So I've had a lot of those kinds of things happen too. Um, so I feel like I was ever that close-minded. You can't be that close-minded if you know, kind of had these things happen in your life. Close-minded about I don't call it autism, right? It was bad behavior patterns, that we learn from the adults that raised us, our conditioning. To be honest. And getting stuck in blame, though, yeah, it gets you nowhere, right? You have to move forward, but you have to first recognize things. That's where I'm at. I've been recognizing a lot of the stuff. I think they're all sick of it, hearing it. Right? I don't care. I have to do this work for me. And I've never cared about myself like I do now. I actually care about myself like I would care for another person, which is kind of crazy to say that, but, I did that all my life. I was conditioned to be a little shrink, to care about mom and grandma's problems, try to get them to make up, and get along. I was always trying to get them get along. At parties, I would go and hang out with all the guys and then go and hang out with all the girls, you know, at our all the parties in our family. Well, because Mexican people do that, we split up. All the guys go one way, and the women go another way, usually in the kitchen. Um, and so I would do that, go and hang out with the guys because I've always been a tomboy. Um, not so much anymore, but like since I've been an adult more. But back then I was, and, so I was trying to make everybody get along. It's pretty sad and disappointing that people just lose contact and don't have any contact due to what? Oh, money, dirty fucking money. Oh God. See, I have a really terrible relationship with money. I realize that now. That's why I'm where I'm at. Yes, for all those people thinking this. I do tend to be sad, depressed. Why? But I think I'm way better than I used to be. I'm not suicidal anymore. I mean, but I've said that before. And then I'm back to thinking suicidal thoughts. But that's okay. If I just get off that track, though, I know how to deal with it now. And what's happened since then is that I used to be able to say, "Oh, nobody loves me," you know, and be pretty dead on, except for God, right, and our Savior. But I started, realizing. I mean, how can I have not realized it when? I mean, Sister McDonald, she was like a very excellent person, you know, Sister McDonald. That makes you realize that God must love you an awful lot when He sent her to help me in my life. I must be worth a lot to Him. And she's like the best. She was the best. And she's the best. I know her spirit is still very much with us. Anyways, I'm not trying to disrespect her family by talking so much about her, but I mean, look, it was almost a year. It's already been a year. So I've been thinking about a lot about her lately. And I'm in the process of painting her. It's taken me so long too, just because of the emotions that I go through. I'm a very deep person, emotionally. Deep, deep. And I've repressed most of my life too. And so I'm getting used to being more public with my emotions. I love watching Lano Nation, of course, because there's so few places that people who are Trump supporters can go now, you know, and hang out. I don't even know all those people, but it's good that there's a place to hang out. Because, he puts me to sleep sometimes. It's like a comforting voice. Yeah, I've heard other people say that too. Maybe it's because of our age. I'm about his age too. And so I'm sick of talking about depression now, but I'll go into that later. I did go into a very deep depression for like a long time, years. years, um, especially after my son getting arrested, because I wanted to be a mother. You know, I wanted to. That was the thing I always wanted to be. I mean, I gave up my. I used to have this crazy, intensely obsessive movie habit. All right, I used to have tons of TV guides, like a whole bunch of them. I used to go through them all, and I had my files. This was before the computer and internet. I mean, I used to be like a computer as far as anything that was regarding movies, Hollywood, and anything regarding TV. I was the expert. Like I still, right to this day, probably know more stuff than most people ever learn. You know what I mean? Like I'm that person you want to call. Like if you're ever on the $20,000 question, or what is it, $1,000,000 now question? I don't know what it's called. So this is the month of June, my month. You know, this month is right smack in the middle of the year, huh? You always notice too that people get murdered more in June. There's a lot more murders around my birthday, around the middle of June. And I notice there's a lot more crime. Crazy things happen more. I bet you that there's something to that. Maybe it's because it's such a hot month. But I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm making a lot of noise with this crimpling paper. I had written some notes to keep me on track, but believe me, I need them. I just know that it's been kind of muggy today. And really dead air time here is not good. Yeah, so I was like just talking about who I am and these stupid brain injuries. Yeah, we talked about that. Well, only because I want to give some background. People have to understand who they're talking to, right? This is my thinking, you know. I mean, I want to know who I'm talking to. I gotta have history on a person if I'm going to follow them at all. Somewhat, you know, it does help to connect with them, you know. So I've been like very strange, different, I guess. I used to hang out with my neighbors. They're older. They were much older, like senior citizens. I used to hang out with my neighbors on the other side. The Maynards. He was a retired fireman, and he was such a nice man too. And his wife. I used to love them. I used to go over there and watch Dark Shadows with them every day. Like right after General Hospital, I would be over there. I mean, I used to go right before and see the credits come up, you know, for General Hospital. And I don't know if anybody remembers the series, Dark Shadows series. It was on every day at 4 o'clock. Was it 4 or 3? I think it was 4. But anyways, yeah, so we were like, and they were this white couple, older senior, and I was a little kid next door, and I just still love hanging out. And I remember one time, Miss Maynard, I was talking to her, you know. I used to go and read to her too when she was like in bed. You know, she couldn't do much after a while. You know, she was always in bed. So I'd go and visit her, and this is when she was dying. And I'd read to her and talk to her. She loved my stories about my cousins and all the crazy stuff we did. And one time she was sitting in the living room. I think this was right before she wound up in bed, and she was just looking at me. I was talking and talking, and she just had to feel my hair. She touched my hair gently, and she said how beautiful my hair was. And I never had considered how or why she did that till I grew up more. Well, probably because she's older, her hair turned white. You know, it was a very touching moment. Probably one of the very few I'd ever had in my whole life, believe me. That, I can remember a few other ones. Very, very, didn't happen too often. You know, close, touchy stuff. no tender feelings shared, about anything. She was just sharing how she thought, how beautiful my young hair was, right? That was so many years ago. I'm sure I'll see her though soon. Not soon, but whenever I die. Um, which probably will be soon. Maybe, hopefully not. I'm trying to fight my going sooner, but it's hard, like when you have so little to spend on food. You have to have money to buy the good food or grow it yourself. And we live in a desert type of land here. It's just like, yeah, I try to put things in planters and small containers and grow stuff that way. I haven't been very successful at planting things this year. There's been so much stuff happening. You have to do this early, right? My dad was a farmer. Always wanted to be a farmer. And that's why I play so much Farmville, and I also play so many of the like games like Cafe World. My mom and my dad, see? Um, yeah, I don't know what to say next. It's kind of getting cold out here. I think I'm going to end this podcast, this live whatever feed. I'm going to definitely edit. I'm not going to put in stuff that's going to be humiliating. Someone who's so nice, he is nice to me. And, why? Why do I do that? Humiliate people. And, I don't humiliate anybody. I just want to talk about the truth about things, And, no, I think I want to continue to grow, get better. And I hope President Trump helps us more on the lower levels, does things to help people who are struggling so much, get people back to being employed. People who, like my sons, I think they lost a lot of hope. I think that they've lost a lot of, like Richie had his own business, and he, he's gone through a lot. He lost his business, and the economy tanked. His friends weren't exactly nice. They were like treating him crappy. I remember that because he was unemployed. People get so abused. Let me tell you, and I've seen him go through a lot of this. Then his friends got unemployed because the economy was so bad, and then they all started coming around. Oh, I'm sorry, Richie. Yeah. Well, he's so Mr. Understanding. So, of course, they're all still friends. They've been friends since high school. They fight and make up all the time. That's good friends, I guess. Lifelong friends. That's a good thing. Um, just wish that he wouldn't be so judgy, judging me. But I think my son has a problem. He still has, things he has to work on. Oh, it was bad earlier saying it was codependence. Yes, of course it is. That's just, excuse me, part of it. When you grow up with parents who have disabilities, like me and Mark do, Guy, I mean, people in my family do expect us to be up to par, like at their level, and they just in denial. All the stuff I've gone through physically, mentally. I mean, it's probably because also I blend so well. Geez, I think that might have something to do with it. But I can't see myself. That's missing in my head. I can't see how I look to other people. I'm only guessing. I think all of us are like that, though, right? Somewhat. But I'm really messed up with this. I really can't see how I look to others. So I kind of hit and miss on that, which is expected, right? So I'm learning to not be Miss Perfect because I really did feel like I had to be perfect the way I grew up, and that's such abuse. I to this day, after everything I've gone through, I've gone through all these classes and seminars whatever you name it. Podcasts. I've seen all kinds of stuff. I've gone through all kinds of therapies. Well, I'm only learning now that I possibly have something that I always knew that we had Tourette's in our family. It's complicated stuff like Tourette syndrome. Everybody makes fun of people who cuss. That's the worst part of it, or worst form of it. But it's more like tics, tics. We have the tics. And I don't even have tics unless I get stressed out really bad, or sometimes it's chemically related, like different things I eat will cause certain reactions. And things in the environment. Oh yeah. When my neighbor used to spray black flag, that would make me freak out. Um, I'd have symptoms. Getting married, I had all kinds of symptoms that should have alerted me. And yes, that happens. I think we're like the canary, right? That they take to mines down inside of they used to. Heard that. So I've been around those circles for many years. Are you kidding me? To be very friendly with all these authors and you name it, doctors. Used to sit at the feet of Dr. Cummings, He had a whole wing at City of Hope. And just listen to everything he's saying, all these genetic things, and follow along. Perfectly normal. Understand all the genetic stuff he's talking about easily. Because, when you get around those circles, right, you pick up a lot of stuff, right? I mean, I was there to learn to help my son. I was trying to be a better mom. Learn what I could learn to help him. He's the one who got diagnosed first, the one that's in prison. So anyways, we were part of a Yale study, Yale, yeah, to identify the gene, the Tourette syndrome genome years ago. Me, Mark, and Eddie, Chris, and Mike. They're two brothers from the same dad, Mark, and me. And they needed families that were like us, where Michael doesn't have symptoms, and or where the other child does. So years ago. So if he never did anything else except sit in prison, he's already done quite a bit, because that fact that he was the first to get diagnosed kind of opened up a lot of doors, right? For me too. Because I'm the one that was the mom getting educated here, learning all the stuff that I had to learn to try and help him. And I'd go to the support group meetings in Arcadia with Loretta Stabler as often as I could, which was as often as she had them. This is before they started the Kenneth Stabler camp. Which that's something I was going to get Christian to help out with. He was supposed to be a counselor the year that they started it, and it didn't work out because here I was in my little shoddy station wagon trying to go up the mountains and to the campsite, and it was bad weather, and I just stopped at a certain store and gotten Eddie he was a baby at the time, a car seat, toddler, and so I was scared to drive, up the mountains with the carload of kids in very bad weather. So I turned back, and I did the right thing, but I always regret that Christian didn't get to be a counselor. I regret that so much. Especially, after the fact that he's in prison. Guys, shut up, you stupid. Crickets are going like crazy. And there's a lot of misunderstanding in our family. They thought I was being a neglectful mom, because I was having problems with Christian. So many problems with him that, to the point where, like, when we had him going into this one teen hospital, he wouldn't get back in the car. He didn't get in the car. I had cops help me get him back in the car when he went like up to Arcadia once. He even called my brother and told him, "Hey, you guys help me. And Christian's not cooperating. He's trying to, not get in the car here." Well, they didn't want to help anyway. Cops helped me. I was just fearful that he was going to run away, or who knows. It was just a very controlling, fearful mom. Didn't know much about Tourette syndrome, and I didn't know what to do. So um, I did. I stuck him in this teen hospital. I used to go to this one place called a Parents Place. They helped me out a lot too. I used to go and check out a toy for Eddie or a book that I might learn something from. Because I couldn't afford to buy them. And the Parents Place was that. They help parents with kids that had this different disabilities. And they help with a lot of stuff. Like they helped me get him into that teen home, which is kind of helping, but oh, excuse me. At the staff's request, or not request, suggestion, because I talked to some, told them how Christian wasn't, listening to me anymore, wasn't getting in the car, wasn't going home, or whatever. You know, they told me, well, just don't pick him up next time, and then CPS will get involved. So it was at their suggestion, okay? So I didn't know. I thought CPS was going to help me. I was so stupid and naive then. I found out the hard way that they didn't know anything, or I knew more about our disabilities than they did. So I was pretty much so frantic because Christian he was getting violent, and this is a big boy, and he was gotten to the point where he was getting violent with me, and that was because of, well, I'm not going to blame that person, but someone in the family suggested that next time he gets smart with me, call off and slap him, and he won't do that to you again. Well, I did do that in their suggestion, and it was going totally against everything I felt, but I did it, and that backfired because I just taught him how to be abusive, right? So it was to the point where, yeah, he was hurting me, hitting me. That happened, started in San Dimas, and so I don't know. I lost my train of thought now. But yeah, that guy was just so out of control. I just pick him up, tried to, and couldn't couldn't do anything much with him. And so I didn't pick him up. But like I said, I thought it was because they were going to help me. Somebody was going to help me. Help never came. Then it started being something totally different. They put him in a group home far away. It was all the way in, what was the name of that city? It's over there, past Burbank, something hills, near Burbank. I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, and I just couldn't sleep until I saw where he slept. I was just so beside myself that my son was, you know, I don't know what I thought, how they were going to help me. That just goes to show how naive I was, you know. And then I soon started getting phone calls from family. My beloved niece telling me, what kind of parenting is that? Or something like that. Wasn't that what she said? Yeah. What kind of parenting? And where's that Linda? Whatever. People were telling me I wasn't parenting correctly. I was doing my best, but just didn't quite get mustard. So that really hurt me deeply. So deep. I didn't know how to deal with those kinds of feelings of rejection, too, because I was so dependent on their approval. So that was really freaking me out. I mean, I freaked out to the point where I remember I called someone from our church, and he was trying to help me deal with it. Um, probably never. I don't know how he helped me deal with it, and I forgot, but I did call. A lot of people helped me from our church to deal with all those feelings of rejection at the time, and I was going through quite a few things, like uh, so much. If anybody knows the band called this is from the old days. My people my age will know. Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. Well, my therapist, no psychiatrist um, was Julius Wechter. He was head of the tequila. I mean, not tequila. What am I saying? Tijuana Brass. So, but I knew him only as my therapist, and after he passed away, I found out more. But he helped me a lot too. He used to coach me when I was going through like the most difficult times when I first came out of denial. Because I used to be this person that thought that she was perfect, right? And being with Mark, sometimes it was like when he would do certain things, I remember I'd come back at him with this, like I'd snap at him and say, "You're the one that's just got this disability, not me." you know? And the funny thing is, Mark's a little slow, right? He told me after I had figured this out and came out of my room, I'd been depressed, like, and didn't come out of my room for a whole week. I would just cried and prayed, and I was a mess. When you come out of denial all by yourself and no one's helping you, family wise, and you have no one, other than your shrink or sorry about that, my therapist, whatever, psychiatrist. Yeah, it was hard to go through that, and with family beating me up on top of that, calling me a lousy parent. So I don't even know how I survived that one, all right? Because I used to be so suicidal. I mean, hair trigger, right? Subconsciously almost, because I've been doing this since I was a kid. Kids do try to kill themselves, folks. I used to do this, but sometimes like unwittingly, you know. Sometimes I just wanted attention, and with two workaholic parents, that sometimes took some doing. I'd have to go through some extremes, like often happen. I'd like to talk about how hard that was. I know I just couldn't sleep until I saw where he laid his head at night. In this awful little group home. I remember I was so poor, and I still bought this tape that was going to help them to be able to deal with his behavior better. It cost me $35. It cost me so much to go to the conference for Tourette syndrome that year. Just back in 97 or 98, wasn't it? And so bless Julius. He didn't get paid extra for that either. I was paying him out of pocket, because well, see, I found out what I needed before our system, good old Medi-Cal, and then they wouldn't have paid for it anyway, you know. So I had to pay out of pocket, and that was hard. Someone from church had to take me to, because my car would always do this weird thing where I would quit. I'd have to, it would quit like 7 times, 7 times there, 6 or 7 times back. So it was a pain, and I had to get help going up to Burbank every week. So I appreciate all the people in our church that helped me with that. They don't know this, but they were saving my life. They're saving my kids from being motherless. So it's hard for me to say all this stuff, to tell on myself. Like everything he told or talked about or tried to embarrass me about, you know, none of that's any worse than the stuff I beat myself up. I do that all the time. I beat myself up all the time. It's like habit. Um, Funny thing is that Google diagnosed me before I agreed. I was like going through all kinds of stuff and basically ended up, long story short, after years and years and years, years, then I came back around to agreeing with their diagnosis, really. Because they kept pushing videos about things on me at one point, and I realized, yep, they're right. I do have that, which I don't know if I want to disclose it because it's still not diagnosed, but I'm 100% sure, right? They say don't self-diagnose, right? Well, when you're poor and your stupid HMO goes out of business, and then the next one that you're trying to join is just as bad, you can never get medical attention, or I would say never, but like for instance, I didn't go to my appointment. It took me a month and a half to go get this appointment with IHP, and because that day I was helping Mark earlier in the day, and the stupid guard at Social Security wouldn't let me go in with him because, Mark's got vitiligo. I had to go in with him, right, as his advocate. That's the law. But these turkeys decided otherwise because I don't look disabled. So that delayed the whole thing, and there was just no way. We didn't get there in time. That was more important. I was trying like crazy too. And then so the next time they want to reschedule me, it's going to take another 2 months, I guess, to schedule. And so now I've been without any real medical attention for my anything that I've got going on here. I don't know, about a year, because like I said, my Molina went out of business. No, it was Golden something other after that. They changed the name and then. So yeah, I should have sued them. Get in line. I don't know how many people I should sue in my life that I haven't. Because life kind of takes precedence. Like more urgent things, like things that are always happening. The water gets shut off, for instance. That's the next one. Or the lights getting shut off, or not enough food, or just trying to go get the food, or just trying to struggle to go get things done, with no car, go get groceries, or go cash checks, or take care of whatever. It's just such a pain without a vehicle, right? But me and Mark have been doing it for all this time, for years now, years. I have really bad knees. They should have been replaced a while ago, but I'm still doing this, walking on them. Mark, he's not supposed to go out in the sun, but we do. I wish I could say, here, to my sons, I trust you with my money, with everything, so you go and do it for us. But that's just not the reality of it. I can't be trusting anyone else but us. I'm not going to trust anyone else with our finances as it is. I've done that in the past with little amounts of money and seen that, I can't trust them because they're going to go and spend it on other things, and that's not going to happen. As much as my son wants to say he's responsible, he's kind of spoiled. And he's gone through a lot with me as far as being, with us. Excuse me. But, he still has a lot of things that I think are, entitled. Or he doesn't see this, so. Of course he won't, no one appreciates the things that they have too much. Not until they see it from someone else's perspective. Right? I mean, we don't. I don't feel that sorry for myself. I mean, I used to more, but like they perceive it as that, you know, because they're sick of it. I don't blame them. You know, people of our generation, us baby boomers, I know so many that are just so close-minded, like don't even know anything about what's going on politically, or all they care about is just going from point A to point B and talking to butts on the couch, and then they just watch the little snippets on TV, and then okay, that's good enough for me. You know, all our country goes to hell, right? It's pretty much gone to hell, and Trump's bringing it back. And if you don't believe it, start paying attention more, and you'll see. So you open your eyes. Challenge you to do that. Start paying attention more to what the normal media tells you. Not normal, but mainstream. In fact, don't pay attention to them. In fact, turn them off, like Lionel says. Turn that crap off, and start paying attention to the right channels. What I meant by that is like dissect things. Don't just take what you hear. If you don't watch the news, you're still going to hear it. Just decide things for yourself. Investigate things for yourself. Find out who Trump really is and all that. And don't listen to these stupid opinions. People who are just, they have something to lose with him, um, being in power and doing the things he's doing. Like when he said he's going to drain the swamp, he wasn't kidding. He really was. Serious. He really is draining the swamp. Because like he says, and it's true, everybody knows, Washington is full of all these, you know, money hungry, disgusting politicians that don't care about you or me. All they care about is, their numbered bank accounts, offshore bank accounts or whatever, enriching their own lives. Anyway, how many millionaires and billionaires do we have on this planet? That they're riding high on their goddamn money, sitting on it all. That's the thing to do. That's living life, sitting on a bunch of money while other people around you starve to death and suffer. And you have that much power. You know how good it makes me feel when I do something good. As poor as I am, when I do one thing that's good for someone else, it makes me feel really good. It's better to give than to receive. It really is. And the people who know this know it. They know it for a fact, right? It gives you such a good feeling. That's being Christ-like. That's what our Savior did. He went around doing nothing but helping people. Dying for us. He died for us. I do believe in our Savior. I believe in God. Because not because someone told me. I was very rebellious. Oh my gosh. You could not tell me anything about religion. I found out because I got on my own 2 knees, and they were still better, and asked our Heavenly Father, gee, is this true? What the missionaries told me, is this true? Just ask them, right? But I don't know, people think that you can't ask God something directly. A lot of people are afraid of that. You know what? If everybody did ask him, is this church true? You would get some revelation, right? Because he wants you to know if it's true or not. He wants us to be on the right track. And I'm sorry, I grew up very repressed in that religion, and I grew up in it. It was horrible. I actually remember flames, like I was in hell when I was doing my first communion. It was like this little Mexican American girl. My mom put me in catechism. Catechism was catechism here, right? Which I promptly flunked. I think I told the nun where to go, where to shove that, ruler stick. She was gonna whack me with. Anyway, so this is like when I was 8 and we went to Mexico on vacation. So she puts me in a school there in Mexico, right? And I took all the classes you're supposed to, stuff you're supposed to learn to do your first communion. Well, it's much easier to cheat in Mexico because, of course, I didn't learn anything. How would I was so distracted by all these kids that hated me because I was a little American girl, some that were jealous, and just nasty. And then the way they were teaching us, there was this nun in this, they had all these kids, all those kids in this room with no windows. That's why I envisioned flames from hell, because it felt like hell. It really did. And she had no control over the kids. I just remember eating those, or being up there making us all eat those little wafers on some stage. I don't know. That's crazy. I'm glad I blocked most of that out. It must have been so horrific for me. So yeah, I don't want to be. Um, I don't want to raise my kids in a church like that. But then I'm finding a lot of things similar, and I guess it's like when you're striving for perfection. You're gonna have because now I know I can strive for perfection. I'm not perfect, but I know I can strive to be more perfected. Like perfected in Christ, right? Because He does make up the difference for us. And so I see the problems with a lot of the kids that are very repressed in our church. What I see is a problem too. Recently, something that happened. This little boy that's in our church came over here one time because he fell asleep. He lives close by, and he's got autism, and he's highly functioning though. So he falls asleep and he comes over here because he knows me from church. He goes, "Hey, I know you from church." And we're all out here, me and my son smoking our pot, medicating, because that's what we need. Okay, really seriously. Um, that he recognized us, and we're not gonna smoke in front of him, but we're like, he came over and everybody just like chilled out, he didn't say anything, but he was asking us, asking me, what's this, what's that, very curious, I think he was like 12 at the time. And well, now he's a little older. I think he's a couple years older now. It's been a year or two, yeah. So, and me and his mom start getting along, but then she got curious about pot, and then the funny thing is, I don't think she told her husband, because she wanted me to take her to the dispensary, which I showed her with that. And so I get blamed for being the bad influence is what ended up happening, what did end up happening. That's this feeling I got. No one told me, but her husband's very like staunch, like he's very narrow-minded. Um, he has some kind of, well, he has that disease. He doesn't get close to people because of that, but I think it's because of that. But he didn't know about her pot thing, and I guess she was trying to hide it from him. So she probably blamed me. That's what I think. I think I opened my mouth when I was over there helping her clean her house, because her house was so messed up. I was helping her clean it up, and so I don't know if it was because I might have mentioned it because I didn't know she was keeping it from him. For one thing, did I? No, I didn't. So I think they ended up blaming me for it. But I'm thinking, she falls asleep, but she's teaching him at home, and this kid, takes off. I've seen one of his friends, some, but he picks the most needy, codependent people you can imagine. Like, yeah, not a good thing. This kid can get into a lot of trouble too.